Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Happy Friday, January 6th, 2023. Give yourself a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. You made it to the weekend. Shout out to you. It's a hard life out there. Waking up, having to grind every day, watching some of your teams disappoint you, like the Mavs, disappointed Mavs fans. Clippers, they clipped hard last night. We'll get into that. We got the NBA All Star voting, some news and notes from around the league. I want to say thank you to everybody who rolled through 77 spaces last night. It was a dope time. I was able to listen in at my son's swimming practice. Couldn't get up on stage, but shout out to Jose, Rolo, and Jazz, the Scammer Sultan, leading some of the best Mavs fans on the planet through a pre-game that led to disappointment. um, your Tony Snell Award winner of the evening is a Dallas Maverick. I'll just put it that way. And there were plenty of characters in that game, but that could have been it. Do me a favor, like and retweet the show card. I got a couple other tweets that I'll put up there. The review is out there. If you haven't yet, sign up for it. It's free. There's a free option. Right, like somebody reached out. I was like, "Well, I can't pay for it." It's like, no, 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 no. It's free. I'm only asking for you to subscribe, if you can afford it, if you want to support the show and the growth, right? Give him a point because, like, I know what it's like to struggle. I'm struggling now. All right, I'll be back in 20. We'll talk some hoops. Appreciate it. Good morning. All right. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Welcome. Happy Friday, January 6th. It's a solemn day for me. An aspect of this is the anniversary of my mom suffering a stroke, and then as a veteran, I was hurt last year at this time, watching the events that happened in the Capitol. I want to say to the family members of people who lost someone. My condolences and my thoughts are always with you. And to those who stood up against an insurrection, thank you from the bottom of my heart. There are others like myself who express our gratitude for keeping us safe in a time of turmoil. Um, it's interesting. We don't really do politics here, but I feel compelled to do so because to not do so today, I think would be wrong. Um, I don't really subscribe to any political party, but I do subscribe to the Constitution that guarantees our freedoms. So it was rough for me last year. I've avoided the news. I've turned the TV off, and in order to do that, I put on the Clippers and Denver Nuggets game when I woke up, and I almost wish I hadn't. 122-91, and this was your late game, Nuggets over the Clippers, and it was bad. We'll get into that. We have the Jazz and the Rockets. Laurie Markkinen is him, is what Utah fans are saying. He had another phenomenal performance, a career high. The Mavs, I need to know who was worse. Were the Mavs from last night worse, or were the Raptors from the other night worse? Because it was brutal. We'll get into that. And for all of you Shea Gilgis Alexander fans, John Morant went into Orlando and led his team to a win. That's all I'm saying, and we'll get into that. We have men's and women's college action to go over as well. I'm hoping to see a really good season from Georgetown. Patrick Ewing was on the hot seat last year, and he successfully stayed, and they need to be successful. You got a couple of interesting scores in men's side here. We'll go there first. Purdue survives Ohio State. Purdue is still ranked first. Ohio State is 24th. They're likely to be out of the top 25. 71-69. And this was a classic good Big Ten game, which means that it was very physical. I think both of these teams will make the tournament. I look forward to seeing more from Purdue. I'm just not quite sure I'm sold on them as being a legit title contender, because then you had Houston roughing up SMU 87-53. Houston has clawed their way back up to the second overall team in the top 25. And I remember before they lost their first game, I thought Houston could potentially run the table. And I still think Houston is the best team on the men's side. 87-53, your final there. Arizona survives a scare from Washington. They had to come back in the second quarter to do so, or second half to do so, 70-67. Gonzaga, they survived San Francisco. Shout out the Dons. Maybe one day Malika will do a story about the University of San Francisco and their import in black culture and basketball. They survived the Dons 77-75. UCLA also survived USC. UCLA, I don't think they're that good. I really do not. They seem like lackadaisical, but I've only seen maybe a game and a half worth. I've only really started watching it now for the last couple of weeks. Indiana falls to Iowa. Keegan Murray's brother, Chris Murray, a 30-10 bomb last night, beating the 15th ranked Indiana Hoosiers. I've seen the Hoosiers live twice, and I've seen the women Hoosiers live twice. The women's team is they got a shot. The men's team, I just think they're good, but not spectacular. In the women's side, almost a full slate of games for the top 25. Duke beat Wake Forest 60-50. Miami upsets North Carolina 62-58. Those are the 22 and 19 seeds. North Carolina is likely to fall out the top 25. South Carolina, and I ask this again, like, do we need a mercy rule? 94-42 over Auburn. And like Auburn, they're not world beaters, but they're not scrubs either. And they could do nothing. It was bad. It was so bad, they took Aaliyah Boston out because they didn't need her. 13 points, 9 boards, 4 blocks. Probably the number one overall pick in the WNBA draft. Likewise, UConn almost doubles up Xavier 73-74. Virginia loses to the number 9 Virginia Tech Hokies 74-66. Boston College upsets NC State 79-71. Ohio State has this really phenomenal player. They beat Minnesota 83-71. Her name is Taylor Mikesell. She is a senior, and she is, I think, what I would say is like the epitome of college sports. Like, she's what you're supposed to do. Go 4 years, get better every year. 22-7-7 last night, leading the Buckeyes over the Gophers. LSU doubles up and then some. Texas A&M 74-34. LSU is dangerous. They are athletic, and if you have not heard of this phenom, Angel Reese, you are going to love her. She is from Bmore. Shout out Baltimore. That's around where I'm from. 24 points per game, 16 rebounds, 6'3". But she is not a slow 6'3". She was on fire. Like, I don't think you guys understand. She basically beat that team by herself. She scored 26 and had 28 rebounds last night. Texas A&M scored 34 points. That is just absolutely dominant. So much so, I even wonder if she's going to challenge to go into the draft. Because I don't, why she need to stay the next 2 years? Really, I watched that game from start to finish. Golly. Gonzaga, the women's side, hosted San Francisco, and they actually beat the Dons rather easily. 63-52, they pulled away in the second half. All right, there you go. Your men's and women's top 25 basketball scores, plus a little bit of shout out to Angel Reese, who all of you need to Google now, so it's saved in your Google search. She is the truth. All right, there we go. Get your hands up. Come on up. Malika, let me shoot you a co-host. Also, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say thank you and give this bomb here to Malika, who signed up for a $5 a month subscription for Hoop Spaces here Once she gets the invite up here, she'll probably talk. But appreciate it, Malika. We met over 2 years ago on Clubhouse now, and it's been a hell of a ride, and that means a lot that you're able to share and want to invest in this future. So I appreciate it, Malika. Good morning.
Hey, Chris. Well, I'm a member of Hoop Spaces. I don't know, like, yeah. I mean, I think it was a foregone conclusion. I was going to subscribe. I mean, I got my hoodie, I got my mug, um, and yeah, like,
Well, I know, but it's like it's still something that I feel almost like validated, right? Like it's hard to explain because we've known each other long enough where like you didn't need to because we known each other, and yet you still chose to, which is what touched my heart.
oh, that's Chris. Um, I mean, at this point, like, yeah, I support what you do. You know that, and hey, maybe one day my little nugget will become something where, you know, I can do what you're doing. So I don't see it that way. But thank you.
All
Yeah,
right.
thank you.
All right. We'll go to 6 of the 12 who's going to jump on this Angel Reese train. And I do have to say, like, I didn't want to like necessarily overly support her because as when it comes to college women's, I am a fan. I follow the Maryland Terrapins, Lady Terrapins, and I follow I grew up there. I played basketball, and this is actually something we could never heard before. I actually played against Keith Booth uh, and a couple of the players like during summer. There's a couple of courts out in Temple, Maryland, Temple Hills, Maryland, which is near College Park. And there'd be pickup games, and like I actually grew up thinking Keith Booth was going to be a legit like NBA player, and then he got drafted by Chicago, and the rest is history. 6 of the 12. Good morning. Let's share this Angel Reese propaganda. Like she's just too spectacular not to. Even though she left my Lady Terrapins to go to the Lady Tigers of LSU. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Chris. Everybody, retweet the show card. Like I said, Chris does good things for us every day. It's all part of our lives, now every morning. Chris, I also wanted to know how do I subscribe because I haven't really looked into it too much, but I heard you mention it a few times. I would like to do that.
Oh man, appreciate it. Here's another bomb then. All you have to do is go into the actual episode of the review. And there's a subscribe button. Like if you go onto the pinned tweet of my profile, you hit it, it'll take you there. And Substack will automatically say, enter an email to subscribe. You enter an email, and then you'll get a block menu to come up. Right? There's a $5 a month. There's a $50 a year. There's a founder, which is 200 a year, and I'll explain that. And then there's free. The review will always be free. I'm never going to paywall the review,
Founder
right?
is not was not did not come up for me. It was just the $5, the and the $50 one, and none.
Oh, okay. That's then I need to check that out there because you know what, I might have taken it off briefly because with the founder, like the way the Substack has it is tiered, right? So that you can create paywalls, and I don't like paywalls because I view them as microtransactions, right? I'm like, if you want to support, here's where you can support. But like when it came to the founder, that was something that would be given, you'd be able to access everything, and then like I had to figure out what would give you something more. And like founding to me would be like I pretty much like an episode of a video, like a 10-minute video episode of me and whoever's a founder just talking basketball that then creates the a separate content level on Hoop Spaces, right? And then the free one, obviously, which is just what you would get in the email, like you were getting anyway on review before they shut it down.
Got you. Okay, yeah, I just wanted to make sure because I definitely want to do that. Like I said, it's been a part of my life now every morning for a year. I feel like when I do miss a show, it kind of like ruins my day a little bit. So I'll definitely do that to help support, man. but yeah, Angel Reese. I mean, if y'all do not know, she's great. She's only a sophomore. You know, like a true sophomore. Like Chris said, she has 2 years left. I don't know. I don't know if the money is necessarily there yet in the WNBA for her to like,
Yeah, it isn't.
leave.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
like to
isn't.
like leave early. So it's almost like better, I guess, to finish her education and I don't know whatever. But yeah, Kim Mulkey is she's building something special in Louisiana. It's gonna be nice to like in 2 years to I think honestly I think this year they can challenge South Carolina. It's just South Carolina's been going at it now for about 4 years. So it's gonna be nice. It looks like the SEC is really only two teams this year, South Carolina and LSU. The rest are kind of not that great on the girls side. So it looks like those two are the two teams. But it's nice to see her getting her praise, man, because I mean 28 rebounds, that's the most ever recorded, I think, since they started recording rebounds. Um so yeah, it's crazy, man. She's really 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 talented. And yeah, man, it's great to see.
Yeah, no, it is, and I of course there's a little bit of hyperbole here when I'm saying she should challenge. It's more so just to bring light to the fantastic season she is having, because it could be, I shouldn't say it is, it could be record setting. Like they really could be. Like she could break some SEC records here. Malika, is there anything you want to add in? Then we'll go to JF. We got JB Fortis as well.
I just wanted to say real quick what you said about Angel Reese challenging. And I know the financial situation. Like the WNBA is
Yeah.
not in a position where players can come out their freshman year. This is not. I remember when LeBron put out a tweet, like talking about this, and I was just like, please get educated on why this is not something that is done at the moment. WNBA has a long way to go. They have to me, they have to first add roster spots before even expanding. But I just, yeah, she's amazingly talented. And there's a class coming next year. This year's draft is good, but next year's draft is loaded. And people are wanting them to expand before that next draft comes out. They're not, they're not going to, I don't know if they're going to be ready. So I just think,
No, they won't because they're in a transitionary period like the NBA
yep.
is, right? So if they were to expand
Hello, can you
exponentially,
hear me?
yeah. Well, we're in the middle of a convo. Wait and put your mic on mute for me, please.
Okay.
Appreciate it. Yeah, there's just not enough veteran talent
Yeah.
available to spread around in an expansion draft for more than just might get two teams. Force pushing it, they'd have to pull in some international players back. But to get like this rapid expansion that I've been seeing on W Twitter, it's not.
That's the no,
It's just
Chris. The
not.
players can't be the issue is there's more players than there are teams.
Yeah, yeah. No, I get that, but in terms of rapid expansion, you would have to.
Jasmine, can you,
Yeah,
Jasmine, can you come up, please? Because with you being a journalist in the W, you'll be
but
more educated in this. But I just think that I like the W. Yeah, there's a lot of great players coming, but the W isn't where they need to be to do that, and the players are there. They just need to
well,
add roster spots at least.
the problem is with players currently on contract, they would have to be open to expansion. An expansion draft would have to draft the players under contract first, from what I understand, before they could bring in players that aren't under
That's what I
contract
mean. That's
outside.
why I said expand the rosters first before you do an expansion. But Jasmine, what are your thoughts?
Good morning, everybody. I'm only on my first cup of coffee. Um,
Good morning.
but
Good morning.
no, I definitely agree with both of you all. You do have to draft the players that you do have first, but I think before expansion has to happen, like Malika said, you do have to expand the roster. There are 144 spots and they're not always filled up. And then you have a lot of people who are signed at the beginning of the season who aren't on a team at the very end. So there's at least over in total, including the 144, at least possibly like 300 players that the WNBA could have. So I think expanding those roster spots first and just really retaining more talent each year and then focusing on expansion with teams and everything like that is the best route to go.
Yeah, Eddie popped up here. My question then would be like in legality, how is that possible? Because from what I understand, to expand the rosters would essentially alter the CBA that's currently in place, right? So like in my mind, they would have to do the draft first, do the expansion part first, because writing into the expansion, you then write in the expanded rosters. And then like talent on hand is used for the draft, and then it becomes a free for all for free agency.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing right now is like, and it's such a domino effect, and it's so many layers, and it's a very complicated conversation to have. But what owners are trying to do with prioritization and getting players to prioritize the WNBA season before like EuroLeague or other leagues is primarily, I feel like, what they're starting with first, and then from there, I think they're going to determine if they want to go the expansion route or if they want to go with more rosters. Because if people, for those of you who do pay attention to the WNBA, Kathy Engelbert was saying for the past year that she wanted to name at least 2 to 3 locations by the end of 2022 that teams were expanding to. Now that's not even a conversation that she's trying to have right now. They're trying to look at other things first, which goes back into the point that, yeah, the expansion draft, should probably be the right move first, but I think they're going to focus on rosters and trying to figure out how to get WNBA players more money without them going overseas or not prioritizing the WNBA over their other things.
All right, there you go.
Yeah, they're trying to get WNBA players like the star, like the Breanna Stewarts, and some of these players in market by but Breanna Stewart has already said it's a conflict with her. So it'd be interesting to see that this season. I think it'd be a little ruffles, but next season, it's it'd
Yeah.
be interesting to see what
Next season is the big determining factor, because that's when the prioritization clause is like a hard, like you're either going to play if you're on time, or if you're not on time, you're not going to play. This year, I think they're giving it a little bit of leeway, and I think you might receive a fine this year. I'm not totally sure, but I know next year is when it really goes into enforcement.
Look at that. Like you got a little impromptu WNBA talk. I want to say thank you to Jasmine for coming up in her first cup of coffee. It ain't easy.
Thank you, Jasmine. I just wanted to make sure I was talking informed. I appreciate it. I wanted to make sure an informed person was up here that actually wrote, actually knew, more.
Yeah, that's why everybody should follow her. She writes for Winsider.
Back home too, by the way. Seattle needs a point guard again.
Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop.
What? I'm just saying we need a point guard.
Stop.
She's ripped.
You should be rooting for the Detroit Shock to come back.
I was just going to say, Akil, are you not a Dallas fan since you're...
See, no, this is the thing. I am. I need Alicia Gray to leave. Free her too, by the way.
Amen.
What? What's up?
No, she said amen. Hurry up so I can keep
amen.
so I can get back to the show.
Yeah, just absolutely free her. Preferably to Seattle as well. But yeah, everybody could come to Seattle. I need a championship again. That's all.
All right, there you go. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Hoop Spaces. Thank you for making any part of your day part of ours. You just heard Jasmine, who covers the Dallas Wings for Winsider. Make sure you shoot her a follow, as we are just weeks away from the WNBA free agency period and draft. And we'll be bringing topics up of discussion here. So you're going to just go ahead and get it by osmosis anyway.
And before you roll off of W and women's talk, thumbs down to Kim Mulkey for not supporting Brittany Griner in any way. I love Angel Reese and all of that, and the players that do pay for her, good luck to you. But I will not be watching, rooting for, or supporting LSU while Kim Mulkey is the coach. Goodbye. Thank you.
All right. there's history there too as well. So we're not gonna go all the way in there, but there is
We're
there's
not,
some
but
history
I
there.
just couldn't let the Kim Mulkey name be spoken and not speak about Kim Mulkey in the way that I see her. Sorry.
No problem. We'll move on. We'll say good morning to JFK. We got Jay the Wakanda and JB Fortis. We'll go JFK, Jay, and then we'll let JB open up the cooking of the Dallas Mavericks because that's what happened. Let's just be honest. JF, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Chris. Also, good morning, Sydney Carter. I love watching women's basketball. Get to find out new people. Yeah. Sticking with the whole women's basketball, Chris. Miami, coming from a Miami native, Miami is a basketball town until the Hurricanes are relevant. We don't acknowledge the Dolphins, so we can acknowledge last night as our UM basketball, the real UM, Chris. The Hurricanes basketball. They followed fashion and beat UNC. So the men's and women's lost back to back. And shouts out to Cavender. I think I'm saying her name wrong. I think it's the Cavender sisters, the twins, but especially Haley. One of the biggest NIL deals signed. She has like over 4 million people following her on Instagram. So, she was one of those big names that was coming into UM. She making hella money. But she hit a game-winning shot, which I like to see, especially in UM fashion. But moving back over to Texas, Chris, Texas did a bad job on getting rid of Shaka Smart because now they're dealing with some shit. Sorry for cursing, but they're dealing with some stuff right now that is kind of disgusting. And this just proves that Shaka Smart might be doing his job or a little bit better, or over at Marquette. I just think it was a bad fire that they let go of Shaka Smart. But Chris, you want to hear a joke?
Sure. Is it funny? Bankai says like I got a joke and it's funny, and if it's not funny, we're gonna boo you.
No, I got a joke, Chris. You want to hear it?
Yeah.
All right. Clippers basketball.
Man, I was so mad putting that game on this morning. So I went to bed. I didn't stay up to watch it. I went to bed. I woke up and I put the game on, thinking it was going to be good. And within 5 minutes, I regretted it. It's horrible. Jada Wakandan, good morning.
Good morning, everybody. Jasmine Malika, y'all could do a space on the WNBA in the future. Y'all would like to see. I would like to attend because I have my thoughts on how they could do expansion and all that stuff too. But no, it was a great win for the Grizzlies. They didn't handle the half court trap or the full court press the way I would have liked, but I get that that's not a common defense you see in the NBA. But other than that, man, it was a good morning. It was, fun night of basketball.
Yeah, no, it definitely was. All right, we're going to pop open the champagne here to go ahead and celebrate these Boston Celtics in their wide-ranging defeat of the Dallas Mavericks. It was very bad. 124-95 your total. Here are the numbers you need to know. We'll get to the Grizzlies game, but this game we're going to get to first because we have another game that was as bad as this, and we'll get to that later. Your Tony Snell Award winner of the evening, one Mr. Reggie Bullock. Everybody give Reggie a round of applause. 37 minutes, 0 points, 0 for 1 from the field, 0 for 1 from deep, 0 for 1 from the free throw line, 3 boards, 2 steals, 2 assists, 2 blocks, -12. We call that a perfect PJ Tucker.
Hey, Chris, can I shout out my Eskimo brother, Reggie Bullock?
Go ahead.
My Eskimo brother, Reggie Bullock.
The only player that seemingly knew how to play was Dwight Powell, who was 5 for 6 for 10 points and 8 boards. Even Luka had a bad game, 23 points, 7 for 23. The majority of his contributions came from the free throw line, 9 for 11. And there you go. I do want to say shout out to the Mavs fans. Micah hit me up this morning. He's actually working and not able to come up. He's going to try to sneak in. We'll see if Jose and Roller want to pop up here. But I wouldn't blame them if they didn't. I'm still traumatized from Tim Hardaway going 2 for 11 for 8 points. Did you see those shots too? Like every shot he took, he thought he was going to make. We'll go to JB Fortis. JB, congratulations on this win, even though at times it was ugly for Boston as well, specifically this 3-minute stretch where Jason Tatum and Luka Doncic were playing who can make the worst shot. What do you got for us, man?
I mean, if you're going to focus on that 3-minute stretch, then you might want to focus on the 3-minute stretch where Grant Williams absolutely cooked Luka Doncic on a switch for a driving layup and one. If you want to focus on that, on those 3 minutes, you can talk again about how Luka came back, drained a three, and then Marcus Smart drained a three, and then Luka drove on Al Horford, and then Al Horford just dominated Dwight Powell. If we want to focus on 3-minute stretches, then we can do that. But I don't think that we should. I'm here to stir up trouble today. And specifically, I'm going to stir up trouble by starting with the idea that Boston has proved throughout this season and last year's Eastern Conference playoffs that if you're going to leave them wide open, or not play defense on their 3-pointers and they sink those 3-pointers, they are unbeatable. They are unstoppable. I know that a lot of people like to say it's a wrap right around here. This really is a wrap. I don't care who your superstar is. I don't care what your depth is. If you're not going to defend the 3-point shooting of the Boston Celtics and the Boston Celtics are draining threes, they are unbeatable. So I say that you have to be top 10 in guarding the 3-point line in this year's playoffs after almost a halfway point in order to realistically have a shot at winning this NBA championship and knocking off the Boston Celtics. And in the Eastern Conference, that comes to a grand total of 5 teams who are in the top 10 of defending the 3-point arc. That would be Philly, New York, Orlando, Atlanta, and Milwaukee. I spent most of yesterday in this space complaining about the turnstile that is Trae Young and just the red uniforms that just are matadors for Atlanta. So color me skeptical that Orlando is going to elevate into the playoffs from the 13th seed. That leaves Philly, number 5, New York, number 6, and Milwaukee is number 2. So throughout the NBA history, only 5 teams which had seed 4 or lower, were able to make the NBA Finals. The 2018 Cavs, 2010 Celtics, 2006 Mavs, the 1978 Supersonics, and 1969 Celtics. However, only the 69 Celtics were able to actually win the NBA championship. LeBron James, who was the most recent to do that, was averaging 27.5 points per game, 8.6 rebounds, and 9.1 assists per game on that 2018 Cleveland Cavaliers team that lost in the NBA Finals. In fact, Miami Heat. In fact, I would imagine that if you wanted to join Luka Doncic in getting a souvenir from the 2018 NBA Finals, you could go to slamgoods.com and use the promo code HoopSpaces to save 15% and relive those glory prime LeBron days when the NBA was heliocentric and a 4-seed or below could get to the NBA Finals. But based on the rest of NBA history, that leaves only Milwaukee as a viable threat to knock off the Celtics if we're just basing it off of history. But this particular rant is about more than saying what we already know, which is that Milwaukee is the best threat to the Celtics so long as Chris Middleton is playing and healthy, right, Bucks fans? This one specifically is dedicated to 76ers and Knicks fans because you are not as bad as you think you are. You are not doomed anymore. You are legit championship contenders in the Eastern Conference. And the question becomes, do you want to make moves to try and get your teams closer to a championship, or do you not want to mess with this chemistry? Those are the conversations that I want to have with Philly and New York Knicks fans right now. I am so sick and tired of listening to, oh, how bad is it? Oh, woe is me. Doc Rivers can't get past things. The New York Knicks are never going to be competitive. We haven't won a championship. Like, enough, man. Recognize where you guys are on defense. Recognize that now might be the time to make moves so that you could be a little more efficient offensively and come into hoop spaces with some hope, with some optimism. Like, I'm done listening to negativity. And that might just be because I have the team. I am the fan that roots for the best team in the NBA, the Boston Celtics. Thanks, Chris.
All right. Hey, thank you. And everybody give him a round of applause. JB Fortis, host of NFL and NBA Now. You can catch it here on Twitter, 8 a.m., 9 a.m., sometimes 1 p.m. You can just follow him now. He's pretty cool. I will say this. I am not one of those Sixers fans, right? I understand the window we have. That's why they made the trade. My issues with Daryl Morey and the moves he made, I think, has subsequently shortened the window as well as narrowed the lane we need to get through the needle, right? By signing PJ Tucker.
But look at your team, dude. Like, I'm sorry.
Yes, yes. Let's look at my team. Let's do this.
Look at your team, and you're the one, by the way, with the superstar. You're the one with Joel Embiid.
Oh, I'm happy with that.
Really,
yeah.
Your team, assuming DeAnthony Melton is kicking ass and taking names.
Oh, I'm sorry. Assuming we don't assume here.
Assuming that he's on one of his heaters, has like 6 scorers. Well, I guess you'd have to throw Tobias Harris the ball. But assume for the moment that Tobias Harris gets the ball. Like, you have offense coming out the wazoo. And I'm here telling you that your 3-point defense is good. And I'm also telling you that in the event that Joel Embiid decides that he wants to be the superstar, which he has for the past 30 games or so, like, then you're the ones who should be thinking, all right, PJ Tucker didn't really work out. We know he's going to bring the defense in the playoffs, but what can we do? Maybe our window is a little bit narrower, but the point is that our window is jacked open right now because we have the superstar, because we believe in Joel Embiid. Like, now's the time, and we don't have Ben Simmons.
So with or without Ben Simmons, I don't think there was an issue here. The trade was made, and I've said this multiple times because traditional thinking and history tells us if you get 2 top 15 players, even 2 top 20 players on the same team, you have a greater chance of winning the championship because it is a game of attrition, but in the playoffs, it's a game of series, and the better team with the top players tends to win more often, right? But the issue is that the players that have been assembled don't necessarily work together. And like what we're seeing is Doc Rivers basically coaching 2 different philosophies at the same time. One when Embiid is there and one when Embiid is not there. And they need to clean that up. But the issue I have is that we don't have any depth behind Embiid. If Embiid is ineffectual, we're done. It doesn't matter how good our 3-point defense is. If we can't actually count on Embiid to be there for a 7-game series because we're running him into the ground, like that is why I detract from the possibility of being a championship contender. That's not me saying we're not. That's me saying if I'm looking at a whole, we would be like 6th, right? And when is the last time a 6th ranked championship contender won a championship? I mean, you just went through the 4th seed, which would be considered a top 8, right? So like we know it's more difficult the further you are down.
Well, I'll clash with you on that because I'm looking at it as a whole right now, and I'm seeing you at the 5th seed. I'm not only seeing you at the 5th seed, I'm seeing you with an 8-2 record in your last 10 games. I'm not only seeing you with an 8-2 record in your last 10 games, but I'm seeing that you have a 16-5 record at home. And I would put that 16-5 record above the Boston Celtics, who are 15-5 at home. So
except that you're doing the Eastern Conference and not the league. I'm doing the league.
There's no question.
We're not the 6th seed in the league. We're like the 9th.
That I'm definitely doing the Eastern Conference. There's a reason I'm starting with the Eastern Conference. The reason is that you're only 1 game back from being a 4 seed, which would mean at least round 1 at home in the playoffs. And in case you're worried about it, you're also only 1.5 games back from the 2 seed and the 3 seed. Again, depending on standings, with 40 plus games and change to play. I'm saying, and the case that I'm making, is that Philadelphia is not as far away from being one of these contenders, particularly with the way that they play defense, and particularly because they have the most dominant pure center in the entire Eastern Conference. I consider Giannis to be a power forward if you really want to have the debate. But yeah, you're right that you have to count on Embiid to be healthy. But welcome to the NBA. The Bucks have to count on Giannis to be healthy. The Nets have to count on KD to be healthy. I'm saying that your team is not only deeper, but that there may be 1 trade away from improving in that 1.5 games to being the 2 seed, being the 3 seed, and really having a shot at these NBA finals. I don't know what going all in means, but I do know that it's worth exploring on the trade front. If you're
absolutely that. I can give you that. But again, like when you're talking championship contender, you can't just go from the Eastern Conference. You got to basically rank the entire league, right?
See, we disagree. We out-disagree. We disagree because in the NBA championship, there will be a grand total of 2 teams. You can ask Luka, by the way, who got swept in the Western Conference Finals. How many teams came out of the Western Conference? And I can ask Jason Tatum.
Well, no, I understand, but now you're talking playoffs. If you're just talking about weighting the odds of a team in the NBA to win a championship, you can't weigh the odds just from the Eastern Conference.
No, but I have to weigh. The only thing I can do if I'm the 76ers or the Celtics or any of these teams is get out of the East in order to even have the opportunity to play for the NBA championship. If I don't even have the opportunity, then what am I even doing here?
Oh, right? No, I understand the argument. We just view the league differently here. That's all.
Oh, only because I'm trying to pump up the Sixers and say.
Well, yeah, I'm trying to tell you don't. Just don't. Who we need to pump up is Brooklyn. We need to pump up Brooklyn. Brooklyn, do Brooklyn. Pump up Brooklyn. We want Brooklyn fans to be pumped up.
Too much of my life.
No, I'm not paying attention to. I'm just focused on my team and us. Building to the playoffs.
But we need to talk about how good Brooklyn is, though. I think
Brooklyn
JB's
is good, but I'm not paying attention to the JB Fortises, the Michael Wilbons, the Jalen Rose.
JB hates Brooklyn. JB hates Brooklyn
because I don't have time for the haters. I'm worried about my team and my team only. I mean,
I'll move it past
forget everybody else.
I have spent too much of my adult life watching KD get stripped of the ball by Jason Tatum to have any kind of belief that in the playoffs, they're not just going to swarm around him the moment he gets into any kind of isolation set and get a steal. I've spent too much of my adult life watching Kyrie.
I'm gonna tell you now, it's gonna be different this year.
Sure.
KD
not worth. It's just not worth. It's just
KD right now.
Not worth responding to that nonsense.
KD right now leads the NBA in effective field goal percentage in mid range on all quadrants.
Just so you know, Malika, I'm just playing with you. Don't take me too seriously.
I know that, but my point is, I am focused on my team. Michael Wilbon gets on my nerves more than you do because he's
he's the kind of person to really get on your nerves. But, my only point to Chris is that I don't think the 76ers are as far away for being a championship contender as he does. I actually think that they're pretty damn good, and I got stats to back it up for days. And I don't know what an all-in trade
I have stats too. It's 27 minutes and 3 points per game. That's my stats.
It's the number one team at defending the three-pointer based on opponents' three-point field goal percentage.
I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying, but if you're going by that argument, you still get beat by volume. We're going to move, though, because we got other hands. Get a Bakari. We'll go to Professor J so they can get some Celtics love in here. EK and Nikhil is here. Thank you, everybody. Actually, before I go to Bakari, because I haven't done this one yet, already 44 minutes in, and I forgot to do this. But shout out to JB because the Slam Goods tweet I'm going to put out now is going to be of LeBron James, where you can relive LeBron James as a Cleveland Cavalier, and you can relive his first year in LA. It's on sale. You can save 15% off of the $35 on the NBA Photos LeBron Volume 2 session. That's dope. I'm going to get that tweet out there. Thanks to JB Fortis. Round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Slamgoods.com, promo code Hoopspaces saves you 15%. And if you are of a certain age and you've never held a magazine, I feel sorry for you. Like, I just do. Like, sorry. You should get it. Try the experience. It's dope. Bakari, good morning. Your Celtics handled the Mavs. What do you got?
Good morning, Chris. I want to say that I really don't have much to say. It's just the Mavs did not look like the Mavs. It's just Luka did not play very well at all. As you mentioned, Reggie Bullock. I was about to say when I first got into the space about Reggie Bullock, and also Tim Hardaway did not have a good game either. Just it's kind of ironic. The best player, like probably the most effective player on the Mavs that game was Dwight Powell, who was a former Celtic. It's kind of interesting, but yeah, it's just a nice bounce back win. Nothing else. Nothing more I gotta say. Just keep
Like,
it consistent.
I don't get it. You lose, you give up 150, you come back, you have a great game, you limit Dallas, and like all we get is I didn't got much to say.
No, it's because like I don't want to be too excited because I've been let down before many times.
Oh, okay.
So I want to see multiple games in a row when they got that win streak because we finally play defense. This is the first time in a long time I've seen the Celtics play in great defense. Shout out to Derek White. He's done miracles on me. He's been, man, that was a great game from Derek White. I want to keep it consistent. That's why.
This is getting rough.
I'm not like those guys that get super hyped from one game.
I think you're trying not to be. It's not really working out for you either.
No, like the bus game, yeah. That bus game on Christmas Day, yeah, I was really hyped.
Yeah, all right.
But that's all I gotta say.
All right, appreciate it. Professor J, hop in here. I know you only got a small thing to say. You're happy. Let's show Bakari here how to rep Boston after a great victory.
Well, I don't know why he's not excited because Jason Tatum had a triple-double. Come on, man. Stand up.
And a lazy triple-double at that. He wasn't even very good in the first half. It was like a casual triple-double.
He was stat padding then. Come on now, be honest.
I don't care. But it was a good win, you know. It was a double-digit win, and all the defense showed up, you know. Finally, and we saw Boston basketball, you know, because they're moving the ball. 17 assists on the first half. Was not to love, man. I love the game. Good.
There you go. That's like at Bakari, you couldn't even do that. Like we got a question, man. We got to work on that. You might have to actually change your Avi to like the actual Boston Leprechaun. We'll go to Akil. We'll go to Jasmine. We'll close up with EK. We'll get a quick reset. We'll talk some more ball. Maybe Bakari will redeem himself and give us like a really good 90-second pro Boston clip. I forgot. Did I say Jasmine or Akil first? I'm bad at this right now.
You can go either. If she wants to go first, that's fine.
Akil can go first.
Oh, wow. Look at that. It'll be quick. Hit on a couple things. One, on Mavs side, the Luka downfall was like one of those things that we could all expect, right? Maybe not like this bad. But like in general this year, it's like Luka has to score 30 points for them to like win a basketball game. So he didn't score 30, and guess what? Like they lost. Something that needs to happen, like shooters need to make jump shots. Like their kind of game is predicated on Luka being Luka. All of these dudes having to hit jumpers. They're not doing that. And then on Boston side, defensively, they threw a ton of different coverages, right? Like they were doubling really hard. Then they were kind of playing one off and kind of showing another guy. And then they were pre-switching a ton. Like they were putting Sam Hauser on him before screens. And something that I think that they did that was really, really interesting that a lot of teams are doing now, like these kind of guys that are like these high usage offensive dudes that like kind of you stick them in corners against really bad defenders to like quote unquote hide them. They attack them in ways where they're like not bringing them out on switches, but like they'll force them to make rotations and then force them to be low guys and do all of this stuff. So that's interesting too. They kind of picked on him that way. It's just like, hey, Luka, like come make all of these rotations and you have to be like really good at them. And he kind of missed on a couple of them here and there and he got caught. And yeah, but besides that, like this was probably one of Boston's best games in the past couple weeks. Like they had a little bit of a slide. Looks like the shooting luck is like going back onto their side. Like, so yeah. They played really, really well defensively too. The ball swung. Marcus Smart played a solid game from like a facilitating standpoint as well. So yeah, it was a good game all around for them.
Oh man, even Akil, who's a Pistons fan, did better.
Now listen, let me tell you the reason why I'm not like an actual reason. That Thunder game actually broke me mentally. Like when I watched that game, it actually broke me mentally. I forgot that dude's name that cooked us. You mentioned his name. That was like
Isaiah Joe.
It was multiple people. Like I don't know. He would play for Maryland. I don't know. You told me Chris told me he played for Maryland, and that game actually broke me, and I can no longer feel.
Oh, Aaron.
Let me help.
Aaron Wiggins.
I help Bakari for 30 seconds.
Oh, yeah, Aaron Wiggins. Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead and help Bakari.
Give me 30 seconds. Bakari, you're ridiculous. They let go of the rope. They stopped trying in the Oklahoma City game. To pretend like that was like a real effort of the Boston Celtics is ridiculous. Here's what you need to do to hype yourself up in terms of the Boston Celtics. Taking Luka out of the equation, do you think a single Dallas Mavericks player, literally everybody else, their starters, their bench players, whatever, take Luka out, could any one of them crack the Celtics rotation? Do you really think Spencer Dinwiddie is that much better than Malcolm Brogdon? I don't. Or Derek White. Dorian Finney-Smith is going to supplant Jaylen Brown, much less Derek White. I'm not even sure their starters could be on our bench, much less like actually play. So what I'm saying to you is that the number 4 seed in the Western Conference has a grand total of one player, count him on one finger, and before you say Maxi Kleber might be better than Luke Cornett, Maxi Kleber is injured right now, so he's not even on the floor.
And he's not better than Luke Cornett.
Total of one player other than Luka, like one player, and that's Luka Doncic, who might be one of the best in the league, who could actually make the Boston rotation. And if I'm telling you that the 4th seed in the Western Conference has a grand total of one player that would be on my team, that should tell you just how good the Boston Celtics are.
Bakari's just making Celtics fans angry.
Bakari, do better, bro. Come on.
We'll go to Jasmine. Jasmine, go ahead. Hop in here.
I mean, I don't really know how to follow up after that. But shout out to the Celtics bench, because when our starters were playing like ass, they came in and they saved the day. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, I don't know where they went the first half, but I'm glad Jason Tatum was able to stat pad his way in the second half. Jaylen Brown needs to be better. I needed a little bit more production from him. He came out kind of cold. He got his rhythm like kind of late in the second half, but then he got in foul trouble as well, so it wasn't like he was able to do much. I did like the block that he had, I think against Spencer Dinwiddie. That was pretty good. Shout out to Al Horford. He was holding it down with his old self. Sorry. Doing really good.
Ass is okay. It's like literally like
just the F-bomb?
Well, F in B and like contextual words like nobody uses anyway.
I got that. Robert Williams, you are not trash. Stop playing like you're trash. In 21 minutes, all you could give me is 3 points. That is Patrick Beverley numbers. You're too big for that. You are too much of a contributor for that. I need you to get it together. Everybody else, I feel like we're doing pretty good. I wasn't really too concerned about the OKC loss because it's Boston. Like, we're going back to the Eastern Conference Finals. I can see us in the finals. I'm not really concerned. All this other jabberwocky talk, I don't really care about it. I'm just happy that we got our W against Dallas. I was kind of sad that Luka I couldn't tell if he was injured before the game or got injured in like the first quarter of the game. I thought he would have had like a more standout night like he had the past few games, but I'm not too mad at him. Take your rest. But I did notice that players who have been going on the street lately, so like Donovan Mitchell, Luka, and Giannis, they all kind of like fizzled out and burned out in their last games that they've had between yesterday and the day before. So I think that speaks to their teammates who kind of need to like step up a little bit more. I don't know who. I remember hearing it yesterday about Christian Wood. He was being like a good player, good defender, whatever. He got cooked last night. Not really too concerned about him. So, yeah, it's a great day to be a Boston Celtics fan.
Hey, Jasmine, who gets more minutes on the Celtics bench, Luke Cornett or Dwight Powell? That's right. That's right.
All I heard was a mid-off, honestly.
Boy, look, listen, do not disrespect Vanderbilt's all-time leader in blocks, okay? That takes skill.
That's college.
Still takes skill. We'll say good morning to EK. EK, good morning. Happy New Year. I know you popped up here the other day, but it's briefly. How you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing well. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, you're a little bit low, but my guess is you're on some type of AirPod thing.
Matter of fact, I am on the AirPod, and I'm also doing a little bit of work, so I just wanted to pop in and say what's up to everybody, man. And I love the fact that you guys opened up with some college basketball talk, specifically talking about Baltimore's own Angel Reese, who did unfortunately transfer from the University of Maryland to LSU. Can't really entirely blame her for that.
And also for
Oh,
you and them,
I can, but I'm just being petty at this point.
I know you and every other University of Maryland fan. I get that, but it has opened up things for Diamond Miller, and I love the fact that he's been flourishing this year. And I would be remiss if I didn't point out um the fact that DePaul Zanone and Nisa Morrow, she and Angel Reese are the only two players in NCAA women's basketball right now who are top 10 in rebounds and top 10 in points per game. And both of them are sophomores. Now I agree with I don't know who said it before. I think it may have been JF who was talking about how they should wait. Oh no, a matter of fact, it wasn't JF. It was 6 to 12 talking about how they should wait um, to go into the WNBA because the money isn't there yet. And I totally agree with that. Once they hit the professional ranks, they're going to be worth 5 times what they're worth now. So that's just a little tidbit on the college side. But to get back to the game last night, I don't really have any more additional thoughts regarding the Boston Celtics and the Dallas Mavericks. I've been saying it all year. I think everybody's been saying it all year. When the Dallas Mavericks ancillary pieces can hit shots, they are truly a top 4 team in the West. When they can't hit shots, they're at the bottom of the West, especially when Luka struggles from the field mightily. 7 for 23 is bad, bad. And part of that is because of Boston's incredible perimeter defense, as well as the ineptitude of guys like Reggie Bullock, Tim Hardaway, Christian Wood last night. Not Christian Wood overall, but Christian Wood last night. Davis Bertans, guys like that. Just the inconsistencies that Luka has to deal with on a night in and night out basis makes my expectations for the Dallas Mavericks very low, and it really has nothing to do with them. But more so has to do with the ancillary pieces and Mark Cuban not necessarily knowing how to build a team. He'd rather be on Shark Tank drinking smoothies and whatever else he can do, right?
As
But also,
as long as it isn't from the Golden State Warriors fan base.
exactly, yeah. As long as it's not from them, it's okay, right? It's a joke, honestly. It really is. But as you know, I am a Houston fan, and we keep on, Lauri Markkanen has had a fantastic year, right? I believe he should be a reserve for the All Star team. We can get into that. If people disagree with me, you can tell me I'm stupid or whatever, right? But he had 49 points last night with 8 rebounds, 6 to 13 from three, 13 to 13 from the free throw line, 15 to 27 from the field. And at this point, the Houston Rockets are now 10 and 29. We're tied for the worst record in the league with the Charlotte Hornets. And at this point, I'm asking myself, when do we hand the reins over to John Lucas? Right? Because I saw a possession last night from my Houston Rockets where there was literally 5 guys on the perimeter, no ball movement. Everybody was trying to get a shot off for themselves. So much so that Eric Gordon forced up a ridiculous wing 3. It couldn't even beat the shot clock. I mean, I don't really know what we can do other than change the coaching regime and also try to maybe unload Eric Gordon because Scoot's coming at this point. At the beginning of the year, I was optimistic and had us winning 25 games. To be completely honest, I don't know where the other 15 is going to come from. We're at 10 wins right now. I don't know where the other 15 is going to come from. We can bake in maybe 5 to 6 wins at the end of the season when teams start resting their players. But I don't know where the 9 to 10 wins are going to come from. We are horrible. Absolute garbage. The only thing that is increased in the last month is our attendance. And the only reason why I'm saying maybe it's increased is because people love seeing train wrecks. And at this point, we're comedy. Our tickets are cheap. So people are like, listen, you want to get a laugh? Go see the Houston Rockets play basketball or attempt to play basketball. And that's all I got.
Yeah, it's also I think they cut their prices. Like that's what teams do. When they hit a certain when they hit a certain number, they start cutting their ticket prices to try to say, hey, come in, and then you'll see the advertising switch And instead of really advertising their players, they'll say LeBron's coming in, KD's coming in, Giannis is coming in, and like it's real nasty work. Jay's gonna get in here sooner or later to get the free Jabari Smith propaganda going, and I will say last night's game is a glaring positive piece of evidence in his argument. Alperen Sengun had a great game, 20 and 13. I still think on a totality that Jabari Smith has the highest developmental ceiling. It'll be interesting, and I agree. I said this before. Stephen Silas was put in there to fail, and he's likely never to get another head coaching gig without the word interim in front of it. JF, hop in here. What do you got?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, how stable you think Robert Williams' knee is? Considering
I don't.
Wade had.
I don't. I didn't want him to play this season, or at least not until after the trade deadline. Jay, go ahead. I just wanted to get JF in because I knew it was like a quick question. Go ahead, Jay.
Oh no, you good. So is free Jabari Smith agenda time?
Well, I mean, if you want to do it, I'm still not on there. I'm still saying they need a coach to develop and build around him because I think he's the better one. That's just me.
Nah. Jalen Green is not here to pass. Kevin Porter Jr. is not here to pass. Alfred Sengun, he's only here to pass if he's in the double. Okay. I mean, the modern NBA wants a dominant wing, then they want a dominant point guard, then they want a dominant big in that order. And so Jabari Smith's skill set, his talents, the uniqueness of who he isn't really being developed correctly because traditionally the things you want Jabari Smith to do, analytic people don't like 50% of it. You actually want Jabari Smith coming off mid-range flares, mid-range pin downs, and shooting that shot and building his game from the inside out. The Rockets aren't interested in that. The Rockets are interested in ISOing, and then when that doesn't work, throw a grenade of a pass, and then your teammate then doesn't swing the ball. He then decides to ISO or shoot a really, weird, congested, contested, ill-advised three-pointer. And so it's if you want to call them the Houston Hornets, I wouldn't be mad at it because it's bad, and it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be this bad. Was this team ever going to be a sneaky play-in team? No, but there are just literal sets that they could run that they just don't run. Like they don't really run horns, right? They run 4 out, 1 in. And Jabari gets treated like Chris Bosh did in Miami, like Kevin Love did in Cleveland. And that's really not who Jabari Smith is as a prospect. And he doesn't, at this rate, I don't even know if he's going to be able to make the Hall of Fame playing with these two guys because he's never going to get the touches. He's never going to get he's never going to be the showpiece in the offense playing with these two guys.
Well, but isn't that more of an indictment on Stephen Silas?
It is, but at this point, I don't know if Silas has been empowered by the organization to tell Jalen, "Hey man, if you do that again, you're not playing for the rest of the night." I don't know if he's been empowered because Kevin Porter, I think, just got an extension, if I'm not mistaken.
He did, but it's actually a pretty favorable extension.
Oh, it is. But what I'm saying is they've obviously shown that they've invested in Kevin Porter. So I don't know if he's been empowered by the organization to tell Kevin Porter Jr., "Hey man, next time you drive into a triple team, jump in the air, and you decide you're going to pass the ball while coming down, you're not going to play for the rest of the night." I don't know if Silas has been empowered to do that. Now, some people would say, well, he should coach them hard because he basically is a lame duck coaching anyway. And to those people, I would say, have you ever earned as much money as Stephen Silas is making right now? Or have you ever achieved your
He's gonna earn it if he gets fired though. Like that's the point.
Yeah.
My issue is Go ahead.
And I was gonna say, yeah, but the thing is, if he refrains from coaching guys hard, I think in Steven Silas's mind is his relationship with the people in Houston is going to be intact. You never know who's going to get hired for what job. You never know who you're going to need. Whereas if he goes scorched earth and decides to be, vintage Tom Thibodeau, um, those bridges might get burned. And
Well,
the NBA is all about relationships.
yeah.
That's the only thing I can think of.
I don't think he needs to go Tom Thibodeau. I think he needs to go Nate McMillan. We'll bring EK in here. He is our Rockets fan here. 131, 114, Jazz over the Rockets. Real quick by the numbers. This was the Laurie Marketing show. Jordan Clarkson and Malik Beasley each had 19. What was it? Agbaji had 11. But 49 from Laurie Marketing, including 13 for 13 from the free throw line. He had 18 points in the first quarter. Houston put up 23. Like, that's all you need to know, because it didn't get any better for Houston. Jalen Green, Kevin Porter combined for 53 points, 10 boards, 6 assists, and 5 turnovers. And I said it before, they're going to have to choose. Like, sooner or later, they're going to have to realize that both of these dudes are shooting guards, and neither are a point guard. Can they become Devin Booker-ish? Sure, but even Devin Booker is not a point guard. He just happened to be like an efficient passer out of the two. So I wish they would actually watch some more tape, because neither one of them play like him, and they probably should try. Eric Gordon, like, good night. Appreciate you. Alperen Sengun, best of all the Houston Rockets, in my opinion. He was 20, 14, and 3. Shout out Tate. He had 11, but like, he and Kenyon Martin Jr., like, they're duplicates. I think it'd be best if one of them were to leave so that they could play the other one with Tari Eason. Like, it's a mess. But talent-wise, I do think they are actually better than the Charlotte. You almost had me saying the Houston Hornets, the Charlotte Hornets, and that's what I think. Ek, I think you agree with me. Steven Silas is likely out. What do you want to see for your next coach? Are we like looking at a Dwayne Casey-esque type person? Maybe even a Nate McMillan, knowing that he's only there to do one thing, and that's instill a basic culture of accountability. Or do you want somebody who's a young player whisperer?
I would rather have a guy. So it kind of depends on what happens this upcoming summer, right? Because I've been saying it for the better part of since the season started. Get Eric Gordon off my team. I think that's the number one priority. We got to get Eric Gordon off the team because he's eating up too much of our
Free
revenue.
Eric Gordon. Free Eric
No,
Gordon.
no. Free the Houston Rockets from Eric Gordon. No, you got to free us from him. Because it's obvious when you see him.
It's absolutely the other way around, by the way.
Oh, Lord. Okay. So when a contender gets Eric Gordon on his team.
Oh no, I'm with you, Ek. Don't listen to him. Don't listen to him. I'm with you.
5 to 16. We're gonna revisit this conversation. He's bad.
But y'all do the same thing with PJ Tucker.
No, PJ Tucker plays and does not score points. Like, we perennially play with PJ Tucker 4-on-5.
Yeah, PJ.
But when he was in Houston and when he was with the Bucks, he was fine. Nobody had a complaint about him until this season.
No, there's some Miami fans who complained last year.
Playoff time, yes.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. It's
an age thing, really. To be honest, like, he ain't LeBron. Let's put it that way.
Exactly. I mean, 37 years old, his body's breaking down. LeBron James has kind of spoiled us into what we think a 37, 38-year-old should look like in the NBA. And PJ Tucker is reminding us what an actual 37, 38-year-old looks like in the NBA.
Hey, Chris.
That was good.
Getting back to the Rockets.
I'll get you NJF after EK.
It really just depends on, like I said, what we do with our personnel, right? If we end up keeping Kevin Porter Jr. and Jalen Green, then the best option would be to try to bring in. I don't want a young coach. I want a guy who's going to try to instill some sort of foundation, right? Like a Dwayne Casey, a Nate McMillan. From what I've heard from people who live in Houston or are close, or who know people that know people in the organization, they really like John Lucas II. Like, Everybody likes John
He's
Gruden.
not going to be a head coach. He already would
I
have been one
understand
if
he
he'd
won't be
want
a
to be
head
one.
coach, but this is what we can do. Give him the interim tag. Maybe after the All-Star game, because let's be honest, we're not getting past 21. We're not, right? The season's done. The season's cooked. The front office knows the season's cooked, right? So give him the interim tag, send Steven Silas home, and see what he can do. And then that'll give us a runway to know what type of coach we can hire
Well,
for next year. And also, like I said, it's the personnel, right? The main thing we need is a point guard. We have a roster full of guards with no point guards. I'm going to count the guards that we have: Tata Washington, Deshaun Nix, Josh Christopher, Garrison Matthews is listed as a guard, even though I wouldn't really call him a guard. Jalen Green, Kevin Porter Jr., and Eric Gordon. Not one of them know how to make a consistent entry pass into the post. Not one. We need a point guard, right?
oh, breaking news. Breaking news. Mavs are waiving Kemba Walker, whose salary would have become guaranteed on Saturday. Two-way guard McKinley Wright the fourth has earned minutes. Hey, shout out to 77 Spaces. I told them about McKinley Wright. And it looks like McKinley Wright is going to be taking Kemba's spot. Kemba is now going to be a free agent.
Well, there you go, Houston. Go ahead and pick up Kemba for however much he's still worth.
I think what it sounds like, and we're going to go around the room here. In fact, actually, this is what I'll do. I'm going to go down here into the chat box. If you can't come up and you want to participate, go down in the chat box. I'm going to start going in there, and I'll start sharing some of your stuff with everybody. Should the Houston Rockets hire Doc Rivers?
Why?
He's a great coach. He's developed players wherever he's been, and he will hold accountability.
You're trolling me.
I am not trolling you.
Yes, you are. Sounds like
I think it would be a fantastic hire. I think Doc is at that point where he's at that Popovich era where he might need a new challenge to reinvigorate himself. And what better challenge than working with three phenomenally talented young players like Jalen Green, Kevin Porter Jr., and Jabari Smith Jr., and throwing out Alperen Sengun.
No. See, Glenn can stay in Philly. The reason why Glenn can stay in Philly is because Glenn has an opportunity to right the wrongs of his playoff past, which won't happen, by the way. I love the fact that JB, early in the show, was trying to give the Philadelphia 76ers flowers, trying to let you know and let the world know and the audience know that they're better than what people maybe make them out to be. And then you're rejecting it. And we all know why you're rejecting it. You're rejecting it because you don't want to be on record saying, you know what? We got the talent to go all the way.
I've already said that.
No. I never said you did. I said you don't want to be put in a position where if you agree with JB's point earlier about you guys being better than you guys being championship caliber, then that would be you basically saying, hey, listen, we got a championship caliber team. We can make it to the NBA Finals. And then
but I've already
you don't
said
want to
that.
be in a position. No, I'm not saying you did. I'm saying you avoided it.
No, but like what I'm saying is I didn't avoid it because I've already gone on record in saying that. Like, they made that move for James Harden to win the championship. It shortened the window, but made it wider. Then Daryl Morey comes behind it and makes it narrower. Why? Because he gave a 37-year-old 3 years and $30 million, and for some reason decided to pick up Daniel House, right? It narrowed the window. Like, that's all I said. And when I look at the league, I don't necessarily say Philadelphia can beat Brooklyn. It's going to go with 7. And it's going to be whoever has home court advantage. I can't say Philadelphia beats Boston. But then conversely, I can't say in the Western Conference that they beat Denver, Memphis, or New Orleans. Right? Like, if that's the case, they are team 6, 7, 8, or 9 in totality in the league. And once you get outside of 6, like the last team to win 4th seed or lower was what? The Miami Heat?
The Miami Heat, yeah.
And then the Los Angeles Lakers won. Yeah, so the Lakers and then the Heat, and then everybody else was a 4 seed or higher, or 3 seed or higher.
You won't drop down that low, though. I don't believe so. I think you guys are going to finish with an extremely good record. I think you guys are on a good pace right now. Joel Embiid's been playing like an absolute monster. And when James Harden is right, he compliments him very well. Right?
Oh, I agree. But we're also 7 and 9 on the road.
Honestly, I think that's going to improve. But what I'm trying to say, the overall point is that Glenn can stay over there where the expectations are high, so he can inevitably fail you, like he's failed the LA Clippers fans for years and years and years. Ask LA Clippers fans how they feel about Glenn. Ask the Orlando Magic fans how they feel about Glenn Rivers.
Well, one, he actually was the best coach until Stan Van Gundy, right? Like that's using the Magic as an example for anything is not really good.
Just say he was second best. Don't say he was the best coach until. Just say he was the second best.
Well, until Stan Van Gundy, he was the best coach. Like that's the problem with Orlando. Like it's just Orlando's just a bad ran organization. Let's be honest.
Oh yeah,
hold on, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, almost as bad as Houston. But I just want to tie up the Houston point. To your point about the coach, I want to see a coach who's going to bring some foundation. But I also want to see better personnel moves. We need a point guard. I think once we have a point guard, it's going to open up Alperen Sengun and Jabari Walker. I'm sorry, Jabari Smith Jr.'s potential a lot more, because then you'll have a guy who has the ability to feed these guys in the mid post around the nail area on either side of the elbow, and that's where they'll really be able to kind of develop and get their bread and butter going on the offensive end. Defensively, I think both those guys try very, very hard, and defense is more about effort and more about understanding offenses and coverages and things of that nature, and that comes with time. But offensively, I think we need a solid point guard to bring in order to make the offense run smoothly, along with bringing in a coach who's going to be able to establish a foundation for player movement and ball movement, as opposed to isolation, 4-out, 1-in.
It definitely sounds like Doc Rivers would be a good hire. Let me get in some Jazz talk here. They snapped a losing streak that brought them under 500. They're one game under 500 now, 20-21. They're going to go full sale mode sooner or later. On anybody that's up here on the stage and anybody down below that wants to add in the chat box, my question to you is, what player do you want most for your team if your team is actually contending? Like Houston don't want anything unless they're going to give him Vanderbilt. They're not going to give him Vanderbilt or Kessler. It's done. But like, what player from the Jazz in the upcoming Jazz fire sale are you going to want to have on your team? So you're looking at the likes of Kelly Olynyk, Mike Conley, Jordan Clarkson, Rudy Gay, Malik Beasley, THT, Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Let us know. All right, we're going to go to JF real quick. Micah is here. Before I go, though, we're in the second hour, and I don't want to forget this. I'm also going to bring in Malika Walker after this read here. Thanks to JB Fortis, you have now, that's a double tweet, Malika. I put yours up there already. You have the ability to head over to slamgoods.com and pick up the photo copy of all of LeBron's greatest moments. Slam put two magazines together covering the greatest dunks, plays, and snapshots of LeBron. Head over there now. It's on sale for $35. Use promo code HoopSpace to save 15% off of your entire order. And then while you're there, head over and in the search panel and put in pickup. And it'll take you to the pickup card game, which is a dope trading card game. I play it with my son from time to time. It's super easy to learn. You can head over to pickup.io to find out, or even look it up on YouTube. $25 for a lifetime of memories. It's like basically Uno meets Pokemon with basketball. Shout out to the pickup card game. Powered by audiolabs.io on YouTube. If you ever miss any of the show, you can head over to YouTube, catch the entire show in its entirety. And I wanted to use entirety at least 3 times. So unedited. Like I went back and forth. I've decided not to edit so you can hear the total context. And that also frees me up to maybe do a podcast later. Powered by audiolabs.io. And shout out to Watch Playback. That's playback.tv. We'll be returning there this weekend. I don't know when yet. That's why I haven't put the tweet out. I'll either get it up by the end of the show or tomorrow. What is Playback, you ask? Well, it's basically this, but on another screen where we're watching the game. So you can hang out. We'll talk shop. If you have questions, I'm here. And then also to Malika, I looked and it's there. What happened is you might have signed up while I had it turned off. So there is a founder level if you are interested in, not you, but anybody, and supporting the growth of Hoop Spaces. So check out the Substack. It's free. You'll get it mailed directly to your email address every day. But if you are a fan of the show, if you want to see us grow, this is my NPR asks, $5 a month, right? Just help me out. Yeah, that's pretty good. It's Friday, y'all. I'm happy. But I want to also share what Malik has been able to do. And she has a show. It's called The Rewind Pod. And you should really, really check it out. And she has a show coming up with Doc Rivers. Not Doc Rivers, Dr. J. And you know what? Yeah, there you go. That you should tune into, because we actually had a conversation a couple of times through these shows about, superstars, and that Dr. J was really the first originator of the star outside of the basketball court. And we oftentimes kind of like look into just basketball. And what the Rewind Pod does is bring some culture and some flavor on different topics that are, connected to basketball. And what's the cool thing is that later on, we're going to actually expand it to bring in other topics that are non-basketball related that affect our culture. Malika, you got the Dr. J tweet up here. What do we got to look forward to next week?
Well, the Dr. J space will be on Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon, morning for California, where we'll be digging into Dr. J on and off the court. And I'm looking forward to that discussion, because I just feel like he's not brought up enough when we talk about great players and his influence on and off the court. So we're going to do that at noon but right before football kicks off on Sunday. There's some historians I want to come through and have this conversation with also. So definitely check us out. And I'm putting together a few shows right now. One on great coaches, where fans of those teams will come up and defend their coach and why they're the better coach. I'm looking forward to that space, and I'm going to reach out to people on that one. And I have a show coming up on looking at the culture of AAU, and another one on JUCO, one more on JUCO. So that's what I have coming up, soon and in the future.
And if you look in the Substack, if you are a subscriber, what you'll start seeing is we have a section where we highlight content creators. Justin Patton, JP the franchise, who's in the building, he's in there with his reaction video. Malika Walker is in here with the show card for the Dr. J show. And one thing that's going to be awesome about it is that you're going to be able to have a hub where you can pick and choose like how you want to interact. And there's always going to be a positive conversation. And that is actually something that we wanted to highlight, and we don't necessarily do it. A lot of people, especially you, have always come up and say, man, I come up here, I can feel safe. I can give my opinion knowing I'm not going to be yelled at. There's not basically yelling and demonstrative behavior. That's what we feel is missing. And actually some people have said like we're the anti-undisputed. And thank you, because that's exactly what we want to be. All right, we got some hands up here. I promise JF will go first. We'll go to Micah. We have a new listener, Sheesh Yikes. We'll get him. But first, I want to say thank you to Sino. He actually is the one who put us on to the breaking news about Charlotte. I almost said Charlotte Hornets. The Dallas Mavericks waiving Kemba Walker. Shout out also John Bynum, who is at the JUCO show of the Rewind Pod with a phenomenal listen. Make sure you shoot him a follow as well. Justin Patton is our YouTube coordinator. And just like I said, we have this section in the Substack that's going to start highlighting these creators. If you are a passionate fan, you are really already a creator in your head. You just haven't taken the next step. And we actually have a path laid out for you. And if you want to provide some content, all you got to do is hit up Justin. We are recruiting basically video reaction content creators. And it's real easy. All you got to do is check out some of Justin's videos, and that's it. We basically got the format. You can be yourself. You can tell us what you want to tell the world about your team. And not only will you be on the Hoops Faces YouTube, which are going to be growing throughout the year, you'll also be on the Substack, which will be growing throughout the year, and you'll be able to share it here. So it's a win-win-win. That's what I like. I like winning. Winning is dope. I've never had fun losing. Never. Winning, though, I've had fun winning. And JF Cake is going to talk to us about winning. JF, you're winning today. How's the little one?
Oh, the little one's good. Watching some Pokemon, drinking some milk. You already know the usual things. But Chris, couple takes I wanted to say. We can also blame Doc Rivers, or actually Jameer. Ray Froston can blame Doc Rivers for starting Jameer Nelson. I think if he didn't do that, they would have won the finals. Also, PJ Tucker. His best year was actually last year with the Heat, statistically. But he only played 20 games with Milwaukee, so we were taking a chance on him, and he is who he is. It's $30 million contract for 3 years. I mean, you're gonna get what you pay for. It's not like he was gonna score a lot, Chris. So yeah, he's been averaging at least less than 10 points a game every season. He's been in the league. And then also, you're talking about that fire sale, Chris. I got a trade. I haven't put it in the trade block yet, but I'm gonna give up Nikola Jovic. I'm gonna give up Kyle Lowry, and I'm gonna give up Duncan Robinson and a first round pick. Give me Lauri Markkanen.
Wow.
Hey, let's go ahead and make this a three-teamer. What do you need for Jovic to be a Grizzly?
Stop it. Stop it. Why do you do this, Jay? Why? Y'all got like
I love
20
me some
young
Jovic.
players, dude. What are
I
you
love me some Jovic.
doing?
Yeah, none of them are 7 foot and remind me of Tony Kukoc.
My goodness gracious, you are just greedy. Or is every Memphis Grizzly fan as greedy as you?
Probably not.
Well, at least you're honest about it. Shout out JFK, who actually reached out to Justin Patton, and we're looking forward to see some of this Heat culture in his reaction videos. Up next, we're going to go to Micah. Micah, good morning. Thanks for popping in. Your Mavericks sucked last night.
Good morning, Chris. Yeah, I took the day off. I was a little under the weather. And, I mean, yeah, they don't have a good team. And it looked like Luka was, I don't know if he is hurt. It almost looked like he was under the weather. He kept on covering his mouth and choking, like coughing uncontrollably. So I don't know what's going on with him exactly. But look, at the end of the day, just being honest as far as Boston goes, yeah, I mean, I still think Luka's better than Tatum. And staying in for a quarter of garbage time to stack up a triple-double is nasty work. But anyways, if you go through the rest of their roster, 2 through 11 is better than our 2 through 11. So there you go. But yeah.
All right.
Real quick. Why in the hell would you do that to Doc Rivers? Good God, Chris. Have you watched them play? You want to do that to Doc? Come on, my man.
See, Micah, you have to understand, right? Like I've had 5 careers. Okay. I'm on my 5th, I should say, right? I'm on my 5th. One, I will never stop. That's being a dad, right? I'm a father first. That's my first career. But like when there are times in life when you are in a career long term and you kind of have to move along. Otherwise, you get stagnant. You get stagnant in your personal development. You get stagnant in your personal relationships. And believe it or not, oftentimes that stagnation causes interpersonal rifts and issues, right? And the idea of not challenging yourself outside of your comfortable environment actually affects more people rather than less. Essentially, what I'm saying is there are far fewer Greg Popoviches, right, than there are Doc Rivers. I am a Greg Popovich type person. Like I want consistency. I demand it. I thrive on it. Right. Some people they thrive on it temporarily, but then like life kind of kicks them in the ass and saying, "Hey, you got to do something else." Right. And in this hypothetical, if Philadelphia were to bomb out and they mutually agreed to part ways, should Houston hire them? I'd say yeah, because this would be a completely new experience. It would revitalize him. And when you see some of these older coaches get around younger players, You see them augment their coaching style, a la Dwayne Casey in Detroit. Now, that doesn't mean I'm saying he would be successful. What I'm saying is it might be an actual really good fit. But that's a good comeback because I am here preaching the truth of Doc Rivers. He is a great coach. How do you like that? And what do you got? Like a cold? Hope it's not COVID, bro.
No, it's not COVID. It's just a cold, man. Just kind of like overheating a little bit, have a bad cough. I just wasn't feeling going into work today, so I just took the day off.
Yeah, no doubt. Oh man, I was about to get to sheesh, but he just dropped down. Man, it's rough out there in these streets. All right, next game up, ladies and gentlemen, that we have yet to talk about now is the Grizzlies and Magic. This was the best game of the night, and I don't like it. I like my best game to be one of the last games I watched, not one of the first ones. 123, 115. Orlando started pushing back in the second quarter. The score, though, is a little bit closer not as close as what the game really was. Orlando had a great third quarter, but Memphis really matched them bucket for bucket in the fourth. And I put this out there, like, Orlando better not screw this up because they have boatloads of talent. Last night for Memphis, Jaren Jackson Jr., 31 and 10 with 3 blocks. He was 12 for 14 on fire. Ja Morant, 32 and 6. He was great. Off the bench, you had Zaire Williams, his probably best game since injury. In 14 minutes, he was 6 for 7. Tyus Jones, 12 and 8. This is a team that looks fun. They have fun together. And when they're winning, it's good. When they're losing, that's where they need to work on. We'll get to that. Orlando started Paulo Banchero, Franz Wagner, Wendell Carter Jr. back in the starting lineup. He started earlier this week, first time coming back from injury. Markelle Fultz started, and the return of Gary Harris, which is interesting. We'll get to that. Your runner-up for the Tony Snell Award, Cole Anthony, 22 minutes, 0 for 8. There you go. We'll go to Jada Wakandan. We'll talk some Memphis Grizzlies because what I said goes true for them. If you can get 2 of the top players in your conference, you're going to have a better chance of winning out in the playoffs. And when I look around the standings, I think they actually might have a top 3 duo in the West, which means that they have a legitimate shot at getting to the Western Conference Finals because I don't have any faith in Jamal Murray or Michael Porter Jr. Brandon Ingram and Zion Williamson tend to be injured right now. Luka is Luka. There's no duo there. That leaves the best duos injured. Golden State doesn't have Andrew Wiggins and Steph Curry, and the Clippers. Like, if Kawhi and PG are healthy, like, they're dangerous, but that's a different question. So there you go. We're laying the ground rules here for Memphis. Jay's going to get up here. If you want to come up, request a mic, shoot a follow, like and retweet the show card. Jay, what do you see the legit chances of the Grizzlies being this season?
The Grizzlies legit have a chance to make it to the finals. They have all the pieces. It's just a matter of how do they shoot and how does Taylor Jenkins coach them through each round of the playoffs. They have shooters in Conchar, Bain. Ja had a really cold December and he's still kind of in that funk, but he showed early in the season that if you go under the screen, if that shot is right, he can't hurt you. And then his mid range is coming. And so the only thing that worries me about the Grizzlies is they have these dry spells when forced to play a half court offensive game, which we all know the playoffs are all about. But the thing is, the threat of Ja in transition makes teams abandon offensive rebounds, which helps because we're one of the best rebounding teams in the league. I think we're the best rebounding team in the league. But our half court defense is also tops in the league, and as far as if you're measuring points per possession. So we have the playoff defense to carry us. As we know, defense wins championships unless you're Golden State and you have, the greatest shooting team ever assembled. But for the most part, defense wins championships. And so, although we struggle, we're not in the bottom 10, I don't believe, of half court points per possession. If we are, I think that gets fixed by health and guys playing together because Bane, Morant, and Jaren Jackson Jr. and Dylan Brooks, if you want to throw those four together, or even Steven Adams, let's go starting five. I don't think they've played a combined 30 games together. And so the hope is that going into these last 45 odd games or whatever's left, that number we can increase that number by, I'm hoping, at least 30 games. That way the bench, which I think is underrated on this team, can kind of gel. Zaire Williams seemed to find his rhythm last night, which makes him dangerous. Um, Xavier Tillman had a good night. I appreciate him upping his trade value. I still think we need somebody bigger that can replicate the screening that Steven Adams brings. Tillman has the wide body to set a screen. He doesn't have the mindset to set the screen, which is really what my issue is with him. Um, Brandon Clark is Brandon Clark. He's added a little mid-range thing to his game. I wouldn't trust it yet in the playoffs, but again, we have another 40 games for him to kind of work on it. Um, Big Body Roddy, rookie. Nobody wants to be in front of him going downhill. Obviously, he's not Zion Williamson. I'm not saying that. But he brings a different element to our offense and to our second unit. Likes playing defense, can move his feet. So there are some pieces that Jenkins has to mix and match that can get us to where we need to get to. The lineup I would like for him to do is Asante, Jaren Jackson Jr. Front court with Ja in the back court, and just see what happens when we decide to play five out. And I think the answer is teams are going to live with us shooting threes, which is smart. But how many foul calls can Ja generate with everybody in the paint, and him just jumping into people's chests will be a question. So I think the Grizzlies are in a really good place. They are a piece away from being the favorites because I still have Golden State as the favorite until they're eliminated, just because they've earned my respect. So, but I think that piece is more so for the bench unit. I think the starting rotation is fine. Some Grizzlies fans want to give it this year. I'm kind of impatient. I'm willing to spend two first rounders to get a Kyle Kuzma or a Isaiah Stewart, just another piece off the bench, is what I feel we need. But that's about it, man.
All right. I think if you make a move for Kyle Kuzma, you're not bringing Kuzma off the bench.
Well, I'm not opposed to that. I'm not opposed to sliding Dylan up to the two and Kuzma at the three, to just be a gigantic lineup. I'm not opposed to that, but there are a lot of Grizzly fans who don't like the idea of bringing Bane off the bench because he
Oh, it
is such
wouldn't
a
be Bane off the
flamethrower.
bench. It'd be Brooks.
Oh no, no, no. Oh
Oh
no,
yeah.
we can't. Oh no, we can't leave the villain. Can't leave the villain on the bench, man. We got to bring him out just so the starting wing, just or starting point guard or whoever we put him on, just so they wake up in cold sweats, knowing they have to get left.
Yeah.
He's one of the best perimeter defenders in the league. So honestly, I would bring Bane off the bench, slide Dylan to the two, and put Kuz at the three if we went and got Kuz.
All right.
Um,
I like Bane way more than Brooks. That's just me.
no, I understand. But what I'm saying is because when Dylan and Jaren are on the floor, we have a top five defense in the league. I don't want to mess that up. And I think what Kuz brings, no, he doesn't shoot nearly as well as Bane. Um, but Kuz to me would put back on the team a Rolls Royce version of what Kyle Anderson gave us last year. And so I would start Kuzma because he's going to keep the ball moving, and he's a great secondary cutter. As one of the underrated aspects of his game is he knows when and how to cut, and he can finish over both shoulders. And so if they do if you do run a Jakuz
No,
pick
I
and roll,
I get
yeah,
what you're saying. I just like
yeah,
the idea of a more jaw-friendly offense, and then like you'd be bringing in Jones, Brooks, and Zaire Williams off the bench. I just see that as um, a better fit. That's just me. I get what you're
yeah. No,
saying though, so I'm
I
not
get what you're
mad at
saying
it.
too. Yeah, I
Yeah.
get what you're saying too. Yeah,
All right.
I just prefer defense because it's Memphis. It's grit and grind. I like the idea of holding opponents under 80 more so than I like the idea of putting 120 on them. And that's
I
just a basketball philosophy thing.
Yeah. Paulo Banchero was good again. 50% from the floor, 8 for 9 from the line, 30 points, 9 boards. Part of this is also volume shooting. Like you just have to understand, he was the top pick. He is a phenomenal talent, and right now, they're going to play the offense through him as they should. Franz Wagner had 22, 18 points in the fourth quarter. Wendell Carter Jr. 18 and 7. He had a 30-minute game, which is good for him. Wendell Carter Jr. is going to be, I think, not this year, but next year, or maybe even as early as the offseason, the hottest trade candidate. He's got a team-friendly contract to anywhere he would go, but we're going to get to the point where Orlando Magic might have to choose between the likes of Wembanyama, Banchero, and Bol over Carter. And let me be honest, right now, I think there's already talk about whether or not Bol should be in the starting lineup over Wendell Carter Jr. Not because of anything other than the fact that the defense added with the length is just something that's unique to the league.
I was so glad Bol wasn't. I don't think he played last night. I think
No, he's injured.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Get well soon, Bol. I enjoyed you playing, but I'm glad you were available last night. No, Wendell Carter. I like the way he battled Steven Adams. He let frustration get the best of him because like three of those fouls when he fouled out were just frustration fouls. Because two times he just like decided, you know what, I'm tired of wrestling Steven Adams. I'm just gonna two hand push him to the floor. And and but I like the moxie of deciding I'm just gonna push this big dude down because I'm tired of this. But no, the Magic were they have a good team. They have a good coach. Franz Wagner and Paulo have to figure out a two-man game, and it's
They play
almost
the
like they
same.
don't.
They play the same position. That's the problem.
See, I don't think it's a problem. I think they're a supersized version of the problem the Celtics had for the first 4 years with Jason Tatum
You just
and
said you
Jalen
didn't
Brown.
think they were a problem, and then you alluded to the problem.
What I'm saying is,
No,
it
you're
is
right.
not
No,
a
that's
permanent.
the example I was going to give you. They play the same
Yeah,
position.
yep,
It's not a problem long term as long as they
yeah,
work it out. But that's the
right,
problem is they play the same position right now. And
right, right.
it doesn't help that Markel Fultz can't shoot.
Well, he cannot stretch you from three,
Yes.
but he does have that thing. He does have a nice mid range pull up game, a la Derrick Rose, who I know we're not talking Wizards. If the Wizards could get their hands on Derrick Rose, I think they become really interesting. Not to say they become a finals contender, nothing, but they become interesting.
I think if you ask most Knicks fans, they would disagree with you. They would love to trade him to Washington, but they would definitely disagree with you on the sentiment of Derrick Rose.
Oh yeah, I understand that. I mean, because they're playing with their shiny new toy.
Nah, man.
Quiggle. You think Rose is done? You think he's finished?
Yeah, I think
Meow. If
I,
he's in the meow portion of his
yeah,
career.
I think, he's in the Bino Udra, part of his career.
Oh, yeah, that's tough.
Where you
That's
bring
tough.
him in and what you're bringing him in for is veteran leadership and more importantly, good practices.
Got you. Who you think's more effective NBA player right now, Dragic or Derrick Rose?
Oh, Dragic has been Dragic. Their games are already like they're diametric. So yeah, the person who can run pick and roll and opts to pass more and passes better tends to age well. Remember, Andre Miller had a 20-year career. He was my favorite, one of my favorite point guards, right? I met him when the Wizards played the Pacers and shook hands and took a picture. And the reason why he extended his career, despite not being uber athletic or, quote, a shooter, was having the basketball IQ and the ability to pass the ball, a la Dragic.
Right. Yeah, I remember Andre Miller for being furious at, well, it was Rick Carlisle, wasn't it, that broke his streak, or is it George Karl?
I think it was George Karl.
George Karl in Denver. Yeah,
it was Denver, and I was I was upset about that.
I was livid. Yeah, I was livid about that because I was just that was a prick move just to be a prick. Like there was no call to do that to him. Well, that's interesting. But yeah,
You know who would really be interesting in Washington?
Who?
Tyus Jones.
No, that's not gonna happen.
Why are you lying? You ain't gotta lie. You don't need. You can say, well, we ain't trading him. But come on, I want to see him in a starting gig. Yeah.
I know he would. He's exactly what they need. But as a Grizzly fan, I am opposed to that. Even if they were like Kuzma, Jones, straight up, I'll have to politely decline because Jones' shooting and his ability to be a point guard is really what the Grizzlies need. Like because his game is kind of the opposite of Ja's game. So it really in baseball terms, he is the off speed to Ja's.
Oh yeah, no, I know.
Yeah,
I know. But again, it's why I want to see him with starting. I mean, I wouldn't even lie. Love to see him in Philly.
Y'all got Melton. We gave you Melton. What do you like? Now you're being greedy. See?
No, I'm not. I'm totally not being greedy. Melton's a shooting guard.
You put the ball in his hand, he can be point.
No, he cannot.
I put wink on there.
Let's get JFK and Mike in here if they have anything they want to add in. We went deep dive into Grizzlies. Sometimes Grindhouse can pop in, but generally he's like either on his way or in work. And sometimes he can't. I thought he would might be able to pop in here. David Roddy had a great game. Going back to Orlando real quick, there are a couple of trade candidates here. And one of them had a great game. Terrence Ross, 18 minutes, 4 for 6 from deep, 14 points. If you are a team that needs a shooter, Philly,
the Bucks,
Milwaukee, yeah. This dude's 11 mil, and all he does is shoot. Like, do the math. Like, all y'all talk about Eric Gordon, y'all should be looking at Terrence Ross.
Hey, Chris, this brings up an interesting thing. What do the Bucks do? I know we kind of talked about this yesterday. What do the Bucks do with Chris Middleton? If you're the Magic, do you try to take on Chris Middleton for his veteran leadership, blah, 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 and you trade for that contract, and you're kind of in the clear whether he opts in or he doesn't opt in, because you basically, I don't know how you feel about Jonathan Isaac. He hasn't played in like 2.5 years, but you would basically send like the Isaac contract, the Ross contract, and like maybe RJ Hampton, like, somebody who you don't believe in or whatever. So you basically have to trade like 3 players off that roster for him. Would you hope that he opts in? Would you not hope he opts in, or would you just not do that trade because he doesn't?
I wouldn't do the trade because honestly, Chris Middleton plays one of the hardest positions to quantify in the league, and to put him like on Orlando would take away from the development of Wagner and Banchero, right? Regardless of his veteran presence and leadership, he would dictate touches that would prohibit them from developing a 2-man game. So like when you go around the league for potential fits of Chris Middleton, like you'd be looking at a team like Cleveland, you'd be looking at a team like Indiana, Dallas, Toronto, Phoenix, and Portland.
Toronto's interesting. Chris, what would you give up if you're Toronto for him?
Probably Fred VanVleet and the contract of Boucher get you close. throw in a young player and a pick, maybe. I don't know. Like it's hard. It's like I said, it's hard to quantify because the
Right.
value of Middleton to the Bucks is so much higher than the
Yeah.
value of Middleton to other teams around the league. Oh, Sacramento, also another good spot for Middleton. It'd be
Chris,
perfect, actually.
Jay.
Go ahead, Bankai.
Hello, everybody.
Good morning. Yes.
Good morning.
There you go. Now you're doing it. Yes. Hello. Good morning.
I heard somebody needed shooting. Who needs shooting? Who needs shooting?
Not at
on their
17
team?
mil. Like you didn't hear it. He
Don't
makes
do it,
11.
Bankai. Don't do it.
All I heard is needs, and then I heard shooting.
I said if a team needs shooting, they should look at Terrence Ross because he makes like 11 mil.
Okay, well, there's a guy on an expiring contract named Evan Fournier. He plays for the New York Knicks. He recently got back into the rotation, right? He's played FIBA basketball. He can shoot the ball.
It's not an expiring contract, and again,
it's expiring next summer, no? Or
but it's not 11 million.
Damn it. Anyways, he can
It's
still shoot the
18 and
ball.
a half next year.
Well, anyways, anybody that needs shooting,
Actually,
you can
19
have
mil.
them.
Yeah, for 19 mil. By the way, Eric Gordon's on the expiring contract, makes 13 mil, and does the same thing Evan Fournier does.
Well, I'm just trying to sucker somebody in.
You ain't suckering nobody in, bro.
I tried.
So, you know what the sad part is I'm actually I was a fan of Evan Fournier, like I still am. Like his game in Denver in the early years in Orlando was phenomenal. That's why New York got him. But there are actually a couple places.
French.
Well, yeah.
He
So
speaks French. That's a plus.
yeah, is it really?
Yeah, I mean, how many? Don't you want a player on your team that can speak French? I mean, he can shoot and speak French. He can trash talk in French. You could use him. We don't need him.
Wait. You do realize that only people who understand French would be impacted by the trash talking in French.
Exactly. So when you play the Minnesota Timberwolves and you're going up against Rudy Gobert, you just throw him out there, try to ruffle his feathers in French. I don't know.
Breeze is up here because you said something that made him raise his hand. Breeze, good morning.
Oh no, he's about to cook me.
Actually, nah, I actually came up here for you, Chris. I wanted to let you know that I'm a monthly subscriber of your newsletter, and also
yeah, that's super loud today.
Feel me? I wanted you to know, since I'm now the most minute of minority owners, I would like to put the creative request in to have Jay the Wakandan have a he's not walking through those doors segment, probably once a week. That's it.
Jay, let's get on it. Jay's like, man, that's a lot of work. Don't you know what I'm already doing?
Chris, I ain't gonna lie to you. I can only hear you.
Oh, really?
I got someone for the Knicks. Luke Cornett is not walking through those doors.
All right. Breeze popped up here, Jay. And he is now a monthly subscriber, which is why he's getting this other bomb here. Said he wants a once a week segment from Jay the Wakandan of they're not walking through these doors.
Oh yeah, we can do that. Just DM me and what team we're doing that week, and we can have that. We can do that. Absolutely. I would love to do that.
We will get that in the cooks, Breeze. Like there you go. It's in the kitchen. We got to get the people to prep it up. So there you go. Like it's that simple. He said, "Yo, I love what you're doing. You've been here now 2 years. I've been a part of it. And actually, if you didn't know, like the way Spaces happened, they chose all these famous people. Like well known. I can't really call them famous. Well known in the basketball world. Banksy, right? Eddie Gonzalez, KD's guy. Rye Cole from The Athletic. They got in a couple other people who already had check marks and a large following or access to large following. And I opened up because Ryan will always tell me to say this. And we did this every day. We got bigger every day. And what it was that I had said essentially that there's a path here because people want to be able to be heard. People want to be able to share and people want to be able to do it in a way that makes them feel positive about not just their team, but their fandom and themselves, right? And the fact that you're able to do that, Breeze, man, it touches my heart. So thank you to you. All right, Micah's hands up, so we'll go to Micah. Shout out to Grindhouse Grizzly. He popped in here. You missed it. I even shouted you out. I was hoping you'd be able to make it because I know sometimes you're on the road or you're at work. Micah, go ahead, and then we're going to go ahead and do some trivia after the next read.
Nah, Chris, I just think it's funny. It's like every team's got one of these guys, or for us, 3 or 4. But like, if you got 3-point specialists that aren't that great at defense, you're stuck with them. Nobody wants them, and I think it's gonna be interesting within the next, say, 2 to 3 years. All these guys like 3-point specialists that got bloated contracts. What kind of contracts that they're going to be signing in the future?
Contracts tend to stay status quo and they rise up in conjunction with what the salary cap is. It's kind of baked into the CBA, right? The issue was the value assigned to player, and what we're seeing is what's coming out of the NBA that I think is going to happen because we're in this transitionary period is that we'll start seeing more individualized valued contracts. So if you need an example, Tyus Jones is an example, and so is his brother Trey. Tyus has been called the best backup point guard. I want to see him start to see what he can do consistently. His brother has in San Antonio by the fallout in San Antonio. And I've said now a couple of times that I think Trey Jones has played himself into being the starting point guard for the San Antonio Spurs unless they draft Scoot Henderson, right? And that's going to be weird because when he comes up for his free agency, his value to San Antonio might actually be reflective of 12-6, but San Antonio might not want to pay him. So when he goes out, instead of getting what his value is for the Spurs, you might get a team that values him like TJ McConnell and says, hey, we'll get you 2 for 24. As opposed to if he had stayed with the Spurs, and this is air quote hypothetical, we'll give you 3 for 45, right? And I think we're going to see a lot more of those. Also, we're going to see it that way because the CBA is actually getting set to expire, and the owners are really wanting this hard cap, right? Like they're going to try to call it any other thing that they can call it, but they want a hard cap because there's at least 18 owners who are furious at the likes of Golden State and a couple other teams who have done nothing illegal, but perhaps they push the boundaries of front office competition. To which I say, that's why we say the winners are always copied, right? Success is always duplicated, imitated, and never originated, or something like that. I can't remember who said that. I'm missing a word somewhere in there. Great question. Like it. That's dope. We got Sean with a W up here. We got some Knicks ball today. We'll get into that. Good morning, Sean. How are you?
Good morning. I'm actually just here to play the trivia game.
Oh, yes.
That's why I'm not going to inundate people with Knicks talk yet, but I'm here for the trivia game.
I have a fun fact for you guys.
Oh, that was perfect timing, Bankai, and we are worried about this fun fact.
So, when was the last time the Knicks got a win in Toronto? You might ask.
When was the last time the Knicks got a win in Toronto? After Sean just said, I'm not going to inundate them with Knicks talk yet. We're talking Knicks.
When Jeremy Lin hit that buzzer beater. Last time the Knicks
won.
Bro,
that was like 10
years ago.
Wait, we haven't won in Toronto in 11 years?
Yes, correct.
That's insane.
That's a good trivia question. Just like this one from Ryan, Hoop Spaces Ryan, in support of Malika Walker's The Rewind Pod, asks a question. Julius Dr. J. Irving was drafted 12th overall from UMass in 1972. Who was the only player from UMass to ever be drafted earlier? I know the answer. Do you?
I know the answer. I'll be quiet.
Justin Patton knows the answer. Dr. J was drafted 12th overall from UMass in 72. Who was the only player from UMass to be drafted earlier? Anybody can answer.
Marcus Camby.
There you go. Make sure, ladies and gentlemen, you tap in to the Rewind Pod covering Dr. J on and off the court Sunday at 11 a.m. Shout out to Malika Walker. All right, here we go. We have random trivia. Anybody up on stage can answer. I will keep score. But no, that's not gonna work. I need 3. Sean is here. Who else?
Me.
Bankai and JFK. All right. Jay the Wakanda, you might want to bounce out and come back in. We got John Bynum getting ready to come up as well. We'll get John in here for some trivia. So we'll go 4s. We got Bankai, Sean. We got JFK and John. In fact, we'll even do this better next time. Let's see. Well, you know what? We will do it this time. JFK and John Bynum Jr., you are Team A. Bankai, Sean, you are Team Knicks. Who goes first? Sean, I'm thinking of a number between 1 through 10.
7.
All right,
4.
John Bynum and JFK, your team is up first, or do you want the Team Knicks to go first?
They can go first.
All right, Bankai and Sean, you are up. Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
All right, these are interlaced through elementary school, so this will be grades 1 through 5, as I deem kindergarten more as preparatory. Which is the largest cat of the cat family?
Is this multiple choice?
No. Either you're a Bankai can answer which is the largest member of the cat family.
I want Bankai. I want
Tigers?
to say. Okay.
What did you say, Bankai?
Tigers.
That is correct. What do you call an animal that can live on land and in water?
Amphibious.
I'll give it to you. It's an amphibian. What land animal can open its mouth the widest?
Land animal can open its mouth the widest. I will.
Hippopotamus.
Look at this. They are really into animals, ladies and gentlemen. 2 more for round 1. How many humps does a dromedary camel have?
It's either 1 or 2. Bankai. I would say 1, but if you feel more confident about another answer, I'll yield to you.
I feel like it's 2 because I think regular camels only have 1.
Let's ride with Bankai. So we'll go 2.
That would be correct. Bankai killing it today.
Bang.
Did you know a camel can drink up to a quarter of its weight in water?
That I did know.
What is a baby goat called for the end of round 1? What is a baby goat called?
I know. Sugar. A baby goat. A kid.
A child.
Wow!
Same thing.
Sweet, ladies and gentlemen. They putting the pressure already on Team A of John Bynum Jr. and JFK. They hold a 5-0 lead. That means that John and JF have to get 5 answers correct, or they lose, and Sean and Bankai will go and take Team Knicks to the final. No pressure, John and JF. Are y'all ready?
Yeah, my bad, JF. I didn't think it was gonna be like
me
this,
too.
man.
All right. We'll stay in the world of animals just to make it fair. What is the largest living animal on the planet?
Dog. JF, you could have to help on this one, bro.
I'm gonna say a whale.
Got to be more specific.
Humpback.
Killer.
The blue whale. The blue whale. What do you call a group of wolves?
Pack.
A pack.
How many legs does a spider have?
8.
What is the world's largest bird?
Ostrich.
What is a bonobo?
Jeez.
Damn, John, help me out.
JF, go on Google real quick, bro.
3, 2,
All right,
1.
I got it, Chris. A bonobo is a type of bird.
It's a primate.
I didn't expect you.
It is a primate. It is an
That's what I was
ape.
about to say. You didn't give me enough time.
Yeah, well, no, you can only give one answer. Similar to a chimpanzee, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Hey, Everybody, let's boo Team A.
Boo.
You know, that was just like right off the gate, they get it wrong. Couldn't get Blue Whale. Jeff Foxworthy is just so disappointed in the fact that you weren't smarter than a fifth grader. If y'all remember that show, I don't even know if that show is still around. That tells you how bad I don't watch TV. And let's everybody give a round of applause to Team Nick, our Team Knicks with Bonkai and Sean. Moving on to the final round. That is really dope. All right. Are you guys ready?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Deej has his hand up. Deej, what do you got, man? What is it? You up here to make some fun or what?
No, I'm just so proud of my Knicks community, man. I just wanted to say that to Bonkai and Sean. I'm gonna drop down. That's it.
That's what I'm talking about, Deej. Look at that. He's giving you some support and love before this next round of
I
trivia.
thought he was going to make the joke that I wanted to make. That this is the only time the Knicks will make the finals.
Can I join in?
Well, no, it's it's just 2-on-2. All right. Now we are going to do some geography and general trivia. What Icelandic geothermal location shares the same name as a 1980 film? By the way, this is AP fifth grade.
Can you repeat the question?
What Icelandic geothermal location shares the same name as a 1980 film?
I think I saw that movie in a class one time. It's something about a lagoon? A blue lagoon or something?
Sean Banka, I need a definitive answer.
Say Blue Lagoon.
The Blue Lagoon?
That is correct. The Blue Lagoon is a geothermal spa.
Class one time.
Yeah, it's located in a lava field in the south part of the country, southwest. All right, here we go. What popular tourist destination was once called the Island of Swine?
The Island of Swine. Popular tourist destination. Oh.
I will give you a hint if you want. It's the only hint that I can give you.
Yes.
And you will be able to have an Ask a Friend who's up on stage. The hint is...
The hint is?
Sandwich.
Sandwich?
Yes, that is the hint. Yeah. What popular tourist destination was once called the Island of Swine? The hint is sandwich.
Well, there's a sandwich. Bologna.
5, 4.
I'm just going to throw out something. The Bahamas?
No.
Cuba.
Yo, I was thinking Cuba, but I was like, but it's not I guess it is popular now because pork is real big in Cuba.
No, it used to be popular because it was like the Caribbean Casablanca back in the day, and then it went through the embargo, and then it went through the fact you couldn't visit there. Yeah, but it was called the Island of Swine because they had the succulent pork.
I was thinking it, but I was like, you said popular tourist, that threw me off. That's fine. Keep going.
All right. Which ocean has more coastline on it? The Pacific, the Atlantic, the Antarctic, or not Antarctic, the Arctic, or the Indian? I wrote that one bad.
Which ocean?
Which ocean has more coastline on it? Yeah.
I think I have an answer. I don't know if you want to go, Sean.
I feel like this is a trick question, but I will yield to you.
Well, you haven't Ask a Friend, and Anthony is just spamming his hand out there.
You want to try letting Anthony?
I'm not.
I think I know it.
I think I know it too.
Does it start with an A?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Answer, please.
I'll go with the Atlantic.
It's the Pacific. All right, last question. You still have the Ask a Friend. What was the first country to give women the right to vote?
Sure wasn't the United States, I'll tell you that much.
This is not a point for the correct answer. It's a point for the right answer.
I know this one. Finland.
The answer is New Zealand. Unfortunately, Bonkai and Sean, you have not won the final round, but cheers to you and rounds of applause. Everybody, give Sean and Bonkai a big up for making it to the final round. In order to win, you got to get 4 right. You got 3. That was good. Good job,
Maybe
guys.
next time. Thank you, Bonkai.
Maybe next time. Arkai coming through in the clutch with a couple of them, right?
We tried.
Bro, you could have asked me on the Ocean part, bro. I had that down pat.
There was no questions about Duke, Anthony.
Another one that could have been asked: which African country has the world's longest river running through it? It's for anybody. The Democratic Republic of Congo.
Oh, wow, interesting.
Mount Kilimanjaro is located in which country?
Tanzania.
Yep. See, just stuff like that. Like, yeah, it's real dope. We didn't even.
Okay, Chris, I got a question for you. Which country is the equator of the world? Like, where's the equator located at?
You mean are you talking about where the equator goes through Equatorial Guinea?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh.
Like it's in the name.
Well, surprisingly, some people don't know that.
How do they not know the country named Equatorial Guinea is not named Equatorial?
Ecuador.
Okay.
Because some people don't identify as Ecuador for some reason. They say what you just said. So when you say Ecuador, people get confused.
It's not Ecuador. It's Equatorial Guinea.
No, Chris, you're missing the joke. Bankai is making a reference to Ecuador because he is part Ecuadorian.
Okay. Yeah, like when I'm in teacher mode, bro, jokes don't fly.
Oh.
Literally. Like pie hit wall. Seriously. Pie hit wall. That's how I am as a
I actually have
good job though.
I actually have a trivia question but I'm just gonna confirm the answer. And this could be for everybody. If my phone would freaking cooperate. Here it is. Okay, perfect. All right. Just hit this button here. And again, who has made the most threes in the NBA this year?
This year?
This year.
You talking about team or player?
Well, sure as heck isn't Buddy Hield. It's Buddy Hield. He's up by like 5.
He's actually up by like 18.
18?
Yes, he has 152, followed by the man who scored 71 the other day, Donovan Mitchell. And surprisingly, Steph is still top 5, and he hasn't played in about a year.
Yeah, I was gonna say because it was Steph until he got hurt.
Yes. Malik Beasley's 3rd, Steph is 5th. Who is 4th?
I got one trivia question.
Fred VanVleet is not because he's out. I know he's high on volume. Anybody else? Because I'm trying to think who 4th is.
No, although he has made the most. No. Actually, Julius Randle has made the most threes in the NBA since November 29th. But he actually is 17th on this list.
Wow.
But, I'll give you. Yeah, so one guess, the guy who's 4th, he's not a Knick. He plays in the Western Conference. And he's a guard.
Luka.
No. Luka's just like 28% from 3. Get out of here.
No, volume, though.
It's not Luka.
Then it's Dame.
Nope.
He's a backup or a starter?
Yeah, I was just going to start throwing out names.
He's a starter in the Western Conference. He's a small guard.
Anthony Simons.
Bingo.
I was gonna go Dame Lillard, man. Yeah.
Well, again, by volume and per game, Dame leads him, but not per made because Dame's missed more time.
All right, I have a trivia question for you guys, for everybody. Which NBA team won the very first game ever?
Bankai's the best.
All right. We are moving on to tonight's games, ladies and gentlemen.
Who was the
we
first NBA team to ever win an NBA game.
Him moving on is his acknowledging that he knows the answer. He knows what you're doing.
point to Sean. 7 p.m. tonight, Indiana hosts Portland. Philadelphia hosts Chicago. That'll be on League Watch or League Pass. Toronto and New York. Your answer is at 7:30 on MSG Networks and League Pass. ESPN will host doubleheaders led off by New Orleans and Brooklyn and Nova. Shout out to that because I'm hoping that is going to be a good game. Brandon Ingram and Zion Williamson out. It makes it seem like it could be bad. But like if you watched last game, I mean, CJ is a bona fide pro. And actually, question: how many of y'all do you think CJ McCollum, with now both BI and Zion out, can sneak into the All-Star game? Because I think he can. If let's say like if they continue their 60% win pace and he elevates his game to average 25-6 with a steal, I think he could. It'd be between him and like De'Aaron Fox, right?
So as I pull up the returns, so obviously like I'm just trying to count spots for guards. So like Curry's gonna get in, Lucas is gonna get in. LeBron's a forward. You know what? It's actually not that far fetched. Not that far fetched.
Yeah. See.
I'm gonna look. I'm gonna look again.
All right, go ahead and look again. While you do that, I'll go through the rest of the schedule tonight. Milwaukee hosts the Charlotte professional basketball team at 8 p.m. Oklahoma City hosts Washington. The Thunder looking to bounce continually forward. I'm not a shy hater. I love SGA. I just dislike people who categorize him incorrectly. All right. Is he an all-star? Absolutely. I said he's an all-star. Is he an all-star starter? Not in my book.
That reminds me. I just looked at the list. CJ has no chance.
No chance?
I'm looking at, Steph, Luka, Ja, the aforementioned SGA. That's 4 guards right there. So let's say that's 2 starters. That's a 2 guard spot. So then he'd have to go up in the as a wild card, and then you're going up against other forwards, and then you're dealing with like Lauri Markkanen and Paul George. Well, no, they don't play. Paul George don't play enough.
There's Dame,
Booker,
Fox,
Austin Reeves. Kidding.
We hate you, Laker fans. We hate you so much right now.
I mean, there's also Jordan Poole. There's Klay Thompson.
Poole's not making it.
Klay Thompson.
Clay's not making it either.
Remember that year when Zaza Pachulia was almost made it?
Look, no one is going to tell me anything bad about Jordan Poole. I've been saying he needs to start the entire season. He's not making the All-Star game, right? Like people just don't like Golden State. Like if you are not of them, like you don't tend to like them. What's up, Anthony? They don't have the K-pop vote this year, man. They took that away.
Wait, we'll make a bunch of fake accounts.
And apparently all the K-pop accounts are voting for Derrick Rose.
So you know what's interesting, right? Have you seen that new trend that some NBA fans are doing, right? They're purposely making these tweets like saying that, oh, so and so player is a big fan of this K-pop band, and they're trying to get votes that way.
Oh, absolutely. Like they learn from the best politics in the world, Americans.
I saw one yesterday. Somebody made one for Julius Randle yesterday, and I was like, "Wait, what?" Like, I saw it floating, and I was
like, the fact that Julius Randle is not in the top 6 in voting is just asinine.
But are you surprised? The fans, because remember, these are fan returns. The fans were never going to roll Julius Randle top 6.
Well, I'm
never.
But the New York Knicks Knicks have a large fan base. Like, I'm just surprised that Knicks fans, because there's enough of y'all to get him to get him in the
You
top.
know what it is, Malika. The fan votes are driven by casuals. So like I've been saying for weeks, like Kyrie Irving's gonna be an all-star. I'm like, no, he's not. I'm like, do you not know how this works? Like Kyrie could, and listen, he deserves to be an all-star. But even if he wasn't playing well, he'd probably get fan votes because it's a popularity contest among casuals. So I don't expect casuals to look at Julius Randle and be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna vote him as an all-star over Tatum, Giannis, Embiid, like those guys like that. So I'm just waiting for them to make it as a reserve. I think one of them will make it between him and Brunson. I actually think Randall has a better case now, but he was never going to be voted in anywhere close. Just a casual.
And
contest.
yeah, well, as some people have pointed out, and he's been up here before. His name is Cassius. There was a space yesterday. And he kind of explained his point of view of it. He just doesn't think that people are gravitating to the sexy names, and he doesn't think that Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson are like sexy names per se. Where like you look at them, you're like, oh yeah, like I'm definitely voting for them. Like there's quote unquote sexier names, and I kind of like understand the point of view, but that could be something that plays into it. Like people are just like, okay, yeah, they're great, but they don't appeal to me.
No, but I'm coming back to y'all Knicks fans. There's a lot of y'all, even casual ones.
The problem is they're all voting for Derrick Rose.
Oh wait, this
I think Chicago voted for Derrick Rose.
Well, Derrick Rose is very popular.
Chicago and China voted for Derrick Rose.
China loves Derrick Rose.
I will tell you this. This century, Derrick Rose is easily one of the top 5 most popular Knicks, which is crazy. Because he's been on the team for like.
I actually didn't know that. That's the funny thing. I didn't know.
We love Derrick Rose is the only dude I know off the top of my head that's a legend. Let's just say legend. But New York and Chicago both love him. Like everyone loves Derrick Rose.
But Derrick Rose went AWOL on us once. I think it was 2015 or 16, whatever. He disappeared for a couple of games. There was supposedly a really good reason with his mental health, but like at the time, nobody knew, right? And when he came back, everybody was still supporting him. They loved it. There was like usually when a player does that, especially in the Knicks, like people want to flame him right away, right? They're like, oh, get out of here, trade him. But there was nothing but that's how he's so popular here. And even now that he's not really doing much and he's not getting playing time, he's still insanely popular within the fan base anyways. People just love Derrick Rose.
I had a tweet that said, who the Ross is voting for Derrick Rose? And the amount of Knicks fans who reply like me, and I'm like, okay, you people are terrorists.
Oh, wow. I thought it was Chicago and China.
It's Chicago, China, and New York.
Yeah. I was surprised by Tyrese Halliburton. I thought that he would, but he's in Indiana. He is in a small market, but I thought that he would be higher, on like the fan votes.
Nah, not yet.
The fan votes
I know.
a little crazy.
I know you're definitely surprised about Nick Claxton, right, Malika?
I'm not, because Nets fans
nobody should.
Wait. So you're saying Jared Allen, Nick Claxton is more deserving than Jared Allen?
I didn't say that. I said Nets fans are voting for him.
No. I'm saying it.
Oh.
Yes. Yes.
So you're saying
like
that
it's not.
Nets
It's not even.
All-stars?
Yes.
Jared Allen in the first place. So who did that?
No. Yeah. Look. Nicholas Claxton is the best defender at the 4/5, not named Bam Adebayo in the Eastern Conference. Right?
I thought he was
hear what I'm saying.
But I didn't think he was going to be like.
He shouldn't start.
No, he shouldn't start.
He's not a starter.
No.
But listen to what I'm saying. Not a 5. He's not Embiid, right? He's not Giannis, who's also a fantastic defensive player. But you have Nick Claxton, who's a 4/5, who can guard 1 through 5, usually 2 through 5, but can get on ones. He's, I think, second in the Eastern blocks. He's up there in steals. His individual ISO defensive numbers are tops in the league. He's an all-star. He is what Andrew Wiggins was last year. Does he deserve to get in? That's what I'm saying. Yes. Now, does he get in? I don't know, because it's a popularity contest. Let me get JF in here. He had his hand up. Anthony had his hand up. I want to make sure Micah can get in here. If you're wondering why I am not, or I wasn't talking as much as I'm trying to write up an email that's really exciting. So you're going to hear probably more of Malika and Sean for like the next 5 minutes or so. We are now moving on since we did most of the schedule. I need to finish that. We left off on the 8 o'clock games with the Charlotte professional basketball team taking on Milwaukee. Oklahoma hosts Washington. San Antonio hosts Detroit. And then at 9, Minnesota hosts LA. Denver and Cleveland, I think, will be the best game of the night. Phoenix, they're down bad. They host Miami. And the Los Angeles Lakers host the mercurial, precarious Atlanta Hawks at 10:30 for your nightcap. JF, hop in here first, then we'll go to Anthony, Micah. John can hop in here and wax poetic, and we'll hit the funeral music for his Clippers. John Bynum is up here. He has yet to give a basketball take. Phenomenal mind and player himself. We want to hear what he has to think. JF, go ahead.
Yeah, Chris, I think this list is trash. I don't like NBA fans no more. To have Nicolin Claxton and Paolo Banchero and Kyle Kuzma on the list over Bam, like you're telling me Bam couldn't even get 150,000 votes? Like,
That's a
I don't know what it's
Miami
gonna
thing,
take.
though. Miami should be voting for him.
You know what? And I blame Miami fans. These are the Miami bandwagon fans that came in like around 2011, and they haven't left, and all they do is complain. Same fans that I know that didn't vote for Tyler Hero, so that wasn't surprising. Even though Tyler Hero's having a better year than what
Yeah, he
Trey
deserves it.
Trey
Yeah.
Young right now,
Right? It's just
LaMelo
Heat
Ball.
fans being. It's just
Like,
Heat fans being late for
so
voting, like they're late for the games.
well, and that's the problem. You can't
That's
really
also
tell
not really fair. I'll let you go back, JF. I've been there. Sean, you've been to Miami. Maybe New Orleans is the only stadium that has, almost cursed, has worse, lead up driveways and parking.
Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah, it's in
the
a
worst.
beautiful spot, but it's not conducive to like infrastructure.
But like LA traffic is absolutely horrible, and I've been stuck in it. But like they still make their way to the games. Like
Well, they also
Not even
leave earlier, and then they also have better public transportation, and they actually have a lot more people who just reside and work in downtown LA.
Okay.
JF, hop in here. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll say the exit that led to the arena got cut off for like a whole season last year. So the detours were stupid. You had to literally walk at least a couple blocks just to get to the arena. The infrastructure is not that good. Trust me. I think if you really look at it, people in Miami are kind of slow, and their voting really sucks. You can definitely see why. This is the reason why we're the state that we're the color that of my shirt. So yeah, I don't expect anything different when it comes to voting in Miami. It's very, very unfortunate because we do have at least minimum 3 All-Stars. I don't even think Jimmy Butler deserves to be on it this year, compared to what Bam and Tyler Hero are doing, and that's just me being honest. But yeah, we do have the worst traffic. I'm not gonna lie, Chris. But yeah, Austin Reeves, Chris, like this is nothing but jokes. Like everybody just wants to be a troll nowadays. That's what I really believe.
Well, okay. I'm gonna say this. It's gonna sound crazy. I can see Austin Reeves being an all-star in the future.
Over Bam right now?
Well, no, not
Bam's
over.
not even on the list.
Well, one, Bam is in the East and not in the West, so we're not going to worry about that. And you were completely cutting out the qualifier of in the future. In the future.
I think the more egregious one is Kevon Looney being on the top 10 in the West front court, though.
Oh, absolutely. I'm still here for it because it's hilarious.
That's a troll job, Chris. Like,
oh yeah, no. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying for Austin Reeves' intents and purposes, if he became a starter, like even next year, and he hit a 50-40-90, averaging 18, 5, and 4, like that's borderline all-star numbers.
Is he better than Alex Caruso?
Yes.
As a Laker.
Yes.
So he's getting paid. He will be getting more money than Alex.
Like he should be starting right now. Like the starting lineup, if healthy for the Los Angeles Lakers, should be Bryant at the 5, AD at the 4, Braun at the 3, Austin at the 2, Schroeder at the 1. Westbrook, your 6-man off the bench. That's their best lineup. All right. Let's go ahead, Sean. What you got?
No, I'm good. Go ahead.
I'm trying to check Alex Caruso's contract.
He's making like $7.5 million.
So is Austin Reeves worth $10 million?
Austin Reeves will probably sign the equivalent when he's up. Well, he's up at this year. He'll probably get 3 for 30 to 32 to 36.
Because I just looked at it. Caruso's contract is 4 for 37,
which is an average of 8.5. Just over 9. Okay. Yeah, I would give Austin Reeves 10 to 12.5.
Is there any other team that would be willing to break their MLE for Austin Reeves?
Until we get there, I could think of 3 teams that could use Austin Reeves that there would be a bona fide improvement, but none of them are contending, so they wouldn't break the MLE. Like, again, I get it. A lot of people aren't understanding what I'm saying. Is I'm not saying right now. I'm saying in the future. I think his value is higher than people understand right now. And on that team, he is clearly the 3rd best player and probably 2nd, best prospect. I think Max Christie. A lot of people they discount him because they haven't seen him, but Max Christie is similar in terms of Michael Porter Jr., where you didn't really see a lot of healthy tape. But I think Christie can play as well. Again, Jeff Hornacek was a very good basketball player, but he wasn't a good basketball player overnight. Austin Reeves can fit that mold, right? And when you talk about, compensation, is 3 for 36 for Austin Reeves any worse, or is it better than giving Eric Gordon 13.5? Right? Terrence Ross is 11 mil. Chris Boucher is 12. PJ Tucker is 10. Right? That's just my opinion. Let's get to Bankai 6 to 12, then we're going to go back to John so we can hit the funeral music and he can complain about the Clippers completely giving up and quitting before halftime.
All right. So, do any of you ever think that the NBA will change this voting format at any point in time, like just given how much of a joke it is, or it'll just stay the same?
Well, the funny thing is they changed the format, so now fans only count for 50% of the vote, media is 25%, and players are 25%. And everyone will learn that media and players and fans have one thing in common. They're human beings and they have biases. So wait till you see some of the fuckery that's going to pop out when these player vote totals are revealed. Trust me. Because all they do is vote for their friends and guys they like.
Oh, I always wait when they make it public, the player votes, just to see who gets a vote on for the All-Stars.
Well, I'm talking more solely based on you got players who absolutely have no business being there, just getting these votes. Like Jeremy Lin almost made it one time. Zaza Pachulia almost made it one time. You got Kevon Looney. His name is up there right now. I don't want to upset Warrior fans, but come on now. That's the change that
at the end of the day. At the end of the day, this is a fan. The All-Star game is for the fans, so the fans have a say as to who they want to see. And the All-Star game, whether that would be Zaza Pachulia, Kevon Looney, Austin Reeves, that's what they want. That their NBA already has put in the safeguards.
I think there's a fine line.
The NBA has already put the safeguards already by adding the media vote and the player vote to mitigate the fan vote. So, but again, that's what Sean said. That's what Sean said. We are all 3 of those aspects have a new human element, and they will vote for their respective guys, whoever they are.
I'll say something real quick, and then we'll go to
I just think there's a fine line between what us the fans want and between what the trolls are trying to do, because it's just trolls. We're giving power to trolls, to be honest.
Listen, all right, I'm gonna say this real quick. What do Ben Simmons, Kawhi Leonard, John Wall, T.J. Warren, and Michael Carter Williams all have in common?
I'm not sure.
They all got All-Star votes from players last season, and they played the same amount of minutes that I did last year in the NBA. Doesn't matter. There's always gonna no matter who you give it to, you're gonna see some bullshit.
Well, like true, like Eddie, who's an avid listener and Brooklyn Nets fan. Shout out to Eddie. Put it out in a tweet when I asked, yesterday. He said, "Well, who would you give it to? The media?" And like, I don't think I answered, but the answer would be no. Like the media, as Sean uses the word rather well in context, is the same as the fans. Like media are fans too. The difference is a lot of media members, whether they want to admit it or not, tend to harp on their personal biases to help prove them right. Versus where I'm going to sit here and say, yo, Julius Randle's an all-star. And like, not only is Julius Randle an all-star, dude's top 3. Like, if you're talking about production on the front court in the Eastern Conference, and if you can't get past your bias and your blinders to say Julius Randle's an all-star, then that's your personal bias impacting your vote, which then media members will say, well, I'm a fan too. And then so what they really should do, in my personal opinion, is have it vote amongst the players and nobody else. And then the fans can vote on who starts, right? They can still do the draft. The team is drafted, and the fans can decide not only who starts, but even possibly create a voting mechanism in game where you can try to vote and get like your wanted lineup out there, right? Like, how many likes does it take to get player X into the game? How many more likes does player Y need to go then replace player X or something like that? I don't know. A whole bunch of places
I
you
don't
can go.
trust
And
players
this is
with
why
their
the
first vote.
NBA should hire you.
The NBA doesn't want to hire him.
I don't trust players with the first vote. Have you seen their votes?
Yes. But the reason why is you can actually legislate it where they can't do what the fans and stuff do. Like, hey, let's be honest and let's vote who you think is the best player, right? So you could end up getting Jason Tatum, who will not vote for Jaylen Brown because maybe Donovan Mitchell's better. And all votes are secret.
Yeah, see, they're all votes are secret until the votes gets publicized.
Oh no. In this aspect, the votes literally would go into an office of no more than 2 people at the NBA front office, and they verify the votes, they tally the votes, and then they move along the All-Star process. They are the only ones who know who vote. They sign, disclosure forms. So if they break the disclosure forms, they never get hired in the business again.
You see the jumbotron. That's the energy I'm on going forward. Since we got to go against trolls and China and shit.
Eddie popped up in here. I'm gonna let him cut the line. We'll go to John 6 at 12. Anthony. Then we got John. Yes, Anthony. I'm letting Eddie cut the line. Why? Because Eddie doesn't, eat Pop-Tarts. I don't know. Eddie, what's up, man? Good morning. Oh, and then 6 at 12 pops down. Dang. And Eddie ain't here. Hate to see it. All right. 6 at 12 pop down, Anthony. You got his spot. Go ahead.
Man, listen. Colin Bay Carroll deserves to go in that damn list. I don't care. None of y'all care.
No, he doesn't.
Stop
None
it.
of y'all care. I don't give a damn. I will vote his ass in a million times I got there, so because I have a vote.
Yeah, you know what? Get on that then, because you're gonna have to vote. Like, what is it? How many times can you vote a day?
You can vote once. You can vote once on the app and once on the website.
So you've got you can get in an additional 30 votes for Paolo Banchero.
Today a vote counts 3 times.
Yeah, he can vote for Paolo all he wants. Like
RJ Barrett being there too. He keep playing.
You know what? I thought RJ was going to have a similar season to what Tyler Hero was having, and I think Tyler Hero is actually deserving of an All-Star slot. But RJ ain't getting in this year, man. Sorry. And I'm an RJ fan. Like you can't tell me I'm not, because like I've been yelling at people for 2 years now.
He would have been fine if he had just not started out the season slow, because
he would have made the All-Star.
He wouldn't have made it.
You talk about popularity contest, Jesus Christ. RJ, the guy that every fan base, Like, let me take my mid young player. Who should I compare him to bring himself up? Oh, I know, R.J. Barrett.
You're right. You guys are right.
Is Santi Aldama better than R.J. Barrett?
Well, the moment that Donovan Mitchell was traded to Cleveland, it pretty much like locked up, and I'm sorry, DeJounte to Atlanta. It pretty much locked up the top flight 2 guards, right? And that just added extra people that RJ was going to have to leap and compete with. And unless he had a Donovan Mitchell sized leap, which he hasn't yet, which I think is still coming, he wasn't going to make it this year.
Isn't RJ a forward?
He does start at 3.
Wasn't easy? So he's not going to make it because we already have issues as to which will be dropped out from the train.
No, it's not necessarily where they start. It's minutes logged. So if he qualifies minutes logged at the 2, he can fit in as a guard.
But he's played the majority of his minutes at the 3. Because remember, Evan Fournier was starting at the 2, and now Quentin Grimes is starting at the 2.
That's true. So maybe he might have been out of luck anyway.
Yeah, it doesn't even matter. He can't even play. Who knows? He might be out another week. Can I just say, I just found out this morning that, when he lacerated his finger, he actually saw the bone inside it.
That's what they meant by laceration.
But
Luka should be arrested.
We'll go to 6 of the 12, and then we'll go to John Bynum Jr., ladies and gentlemen. Then we'll hit up John, so he can get the funeral going on for these LA Clippers that was bad. 6 of the 12. Thanks for your patience, man. Go ahead.
Hey, what's up, Chris? No, I'm actually just commenting on something that was probably talked about about Miami. So I actually lived in Miami this past year from June through October. And I was able to go watch the preseason game between the Pelicans and the Miami Heat. And, everything you said was correct about how hard it is to enter inside the arena. I go to Pelicans games all the time, and I always said the exact same thing about the Pelicans games. Like, if you don't park in that first garage, you're basically SOL. The one thing I would say about living in Miami though is like coming from New Orleans, we're very passionate about our teams. Like, you'll see people wearing Saints jerseys, Pelicans hats, Pelicans jerseys, Pelicans shirts, Saints shirts, whatever. All around the town. I know it's a lot smaller of a place than, let's say, Miami, and there's a lot more things to do in Miami than, let's say, go to the Heat games or go to the Dolphins games, Marlins, whatever. But I was very surprised by how little people were really invested into Miami Heat. I really didn't see that many, Miami Heat things. Like, I was actually staying in the Wynwood area of Miami. And there is like some Miami Heat, murals and things like that, like on the walls, which was really cool. But I was very surprised by like how little invested they were over there. So it doesn't surprise me on the voting thing. And then also I really felt like the Heat Arena, they have a lot of history in it. Like the coolest part about it was like looking up and looking at the championship banners and things like that. But I think they need to make some improvements on their actual arena. Like the big board is really small. The big screen is really small. But I really enjoyed my time. I just wanted to comment on that because y'all had brought that up, and I was like, dude, that's so true. Like, it took me at least a 35-minute walk to get into the arena in Miami.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the vouch there. The validation is good, so the people down below that are listening know that we're not, full of junk up here when we're talking. Shout outs down below before we get ready to close out on this week's show. Grindhouse Grizz is here. Issa Kari's here. BJ is here. We'll see if Eddie's available. The Rels and Pels character and Pels fandom is going to be huge. She is phenomenal. I actually listened to an episode of the Pels and Whistles podcast last night. I'm telling you now, shoot her a follow. Phenomenal work. That's exactly the type of stuff we want to hear. We've got Evan in here, Evan Moore. He's reached out before. We're going to work with him, possibly add some written work. Shout out to him. We've got Tiberius, as always. Queen Sophia, it's good to see you. Dip, Kent in Portland. Nick's Take Jake, Ra, Warren from day one. Appreciate you, Doug, as well. Raptors Live TV is in here. Another phenomenal group of passionate fans bringing you this type of discourse. They are there post game. They are there during the game on Clubhouse. Keep an eye on them. Shoot them a follow, because just like everybody else, my goal is to help them be in a position that they can continue to chase their dreams. And while you're at it and shooting them a follow, check out the Good Rookies podcast as well. Fahim for the win and Nelly J holding it down. Malika is here. She's going to go ahead and give you one last time a good 30-second read of what you get to look forward to talking about Dr. J on Sunday. Then we're going to go to John Bynum Jr., and then we'll see if Eddie's there, and then we'll get ready to close out. Thank you, everybody. Good morning.
Are you starting with me? I want to.
Yeah, okay. 30-second read for Sunday show.
Definitely on Sunday, we'll be discussing and giving Dr. J his flowers. So come through Sunday at 12, and we'll discuss whether he gets the credit he deserves, whether he gets the accolades or the love he deserves, and we will, give him his flowers and talk about the impact he's had on the league on and off the court. Sunday at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time, right before football. Thanks.
There you go. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Make sure you tune in. I'm probably going to be listening. I probably won't be on stage. I'll be on the road, probably driving back from Tennessee to see family. So I do urge you to have a different type of basketball conversation and have it be about, the culture and history that has actually really shaped how players are now. Like, if there wasn't a Dr. J, like, we're not seeing Michael Jordan in Space Jam. Like, understand that.
Nike, like so many things, and stock options.
Like stock options.
He got that from. Yeah. Options and deals. That's where he got that from Dr. J. So we're going to talk about it.
All right, appreciate it. We'll go to John Bynum Jr., ladies and gentlemen. He was a speaker on the Rewind Pod, and he'll tell you and attest to the phenomenal conversations and discussions you can have there. John, thank you for coming up and playing trivia as well. You got the floor. It's for you. 2 minutes. What do you got in the world of basketball?
Man, shout out to you, Chris, for hosting this thing, first of all. Man, I'm just going to shout out my Nuggets, man. First and foremost, everybody talk about how bad the Clippers played and so on. I mean, anybody could have beat the Clippers last night. But at the end of the day, my Nuggets are holding it down. One love. Everybody kind of overlooks them and talks about defensive principles and everything. Jokic being not able to guard the pick and roll, which is all true. But hands down, man, this team keeps getting better. Got some good pieces. Chanchar, he's looking better as well too, and you just go down the list of guys on that roster, and Michael Porter Jr. he's been in and out the lineup. Jamal Murray, obviously, he struggled this year, but at the end of the day, I see him. He's going to continue to get better after that long layoff. I didn't expect him to look as good as he's looked. At times, he's been inconsistent. With the ACL injury, but man, my Nuggets are going to keep getting better. I foresee them being one of those teams that, they're floating under the radar, had a big win against Boston last week, and they just keep getting better. Just want to shout that out, and much love to y'all on this podcast for sure.
All right, appreciate it. And if you ever wanted to dabble in creation, like we could use a Nuggets fan. We had one, but unfortunately he had some life stuff that came up, and the way we roll is we move at the speed of life, and if life tells you to do something else, we're cool. So just think about it. 5 to 8 minutes, man, for a game reaction. You're already watching.
No doubt.
All right, we'll go now next to Eddie. If Eddie is back, sometimes you come up on stage thinking you have a minute, and your minute is taken away due to unforeseen circumstances. Eddie, you there?
Yeah, I'm here, Chris. Appreciate you putting me up. Sorry if I literally got a call while I was waiting. So.
Oh, you're good. You're good. That's why I kind of figured you was in the office, and I thought maybe by chance somebody from upstairs was like banging on your door, like, is that dude you was telling me about? Like,
It's so funny, Chris. It's so funny. I literally, as you were speaking about the Launchpad, I literally got an email about it. So about the I laughed and I thought of you when I saw the Launchpad email. I said, "Oh man," because they just sent something about it. So I really, you're the first guy I thought about.
I appreciate that. And for those who don't know, the NBA Launchpad started last year. It's an initiative by the NBA to recognize ways to improve the game in various specific measures. And what it came down to is people more famous than me are in this lane, and it's kind of duplicative, and I totally get it, and I'm not upset.
No, not at all. It was a great shot, though. I mean, I was going to support you in any way I could if with one of your ideas. So
yeah, no, I know. So what do you got for us? Because you came up when we were talking All-Star.
Yeah, we were talking All-Star. Now,
Yeah.
I just wanted to put my 2 cents in about it's so funny because every year I hear the same conversations about the trolls on the internet that vote that make these votes and things like that. But you know what? Ultimately, I always feel that the guys that are really going to be all-stars are going to be all-stars. Julius Randle will make an all-star, regardless of the trolls that are out there that put out 200. There's 200,000 trolls, whatever. I mean, Jason Tatum got like almost 3 million votes for the forward position. So the guys that belong there will get in. There'll always be those one or two guys that are almost at that cusp and they could get in, they can't get in, or maybe they didn't make it this year. I think ultimately it just works out because I think Sean said it best. No matter whatever group you want to say, okay, these guys should vote or these fans shouldn't vote or media should vote, players should vote, there are biases in every single group. And I think now if you put all the culmination of those three groups, the media, the players, as well as the fans, yes, there'll be that 10%, 12, 20% that might be trolls, but ultimately the guys that get in deserve to get in.
That's dope. And I agree 100% that those who get in tend to deserve to get in. And the only reason why I like the players aspect, especially with the secret ballot, is if you've ever been fortunate enough to talk basketball with a player, like they understand the game in a way that is extremely difficult to explain to the layman, right? Like even I watch, like I'm over 450 games already this year. And like I follow coaches. I've gone to coaching clinics and I've been to Sloan. These guys, they innately know, the ones who ball innately know, the ones who are putting the time in innately know what basketball is in the NBA level. And I prefer somebody who's a subject matter expert to try to take the lead in voting to highlight. And like that's why like NBA Hoopervision was super successful. And you see like Jamal Crawford getting more prominent roles in media. There's going to be other players coming up. Like I love Chuck. He's aging out. I love Shaq. It's almost time, right? Wade didn't cut it. Like this is this next league that they're entering in is more cutthroat than the league they're leaving, right? And it's just one of those things that some of these guys should be able to do this easily. That's just my opinion. Your Nets lost to the Bulls. Any worry?
No, because we were on a 12-game winning streak, and I figured we were going to ultimately lose one of these games. I mean, there's no shame in losing to the Bulls on the road. If you look at the numbers, you'd think that they would have got blown out having the Chicago Bull team on at home shooting like nearly, I think it was about 54% from the floor and about almost, I think 30 something from the three. So we literally just missed open shots that we were making during our 12-game winning streak. I mean, Royce O'Neal was open 8 times, missed all 8. So I'm not worried if they keep taking the same shots that they took during that game and they keep playing the same way they've been playing for the last 12, 13 games, 15 games, 18 games. Because despite the streak, they still only lost one game in December. So I'm not worried at this point.
All right. I agree. I just wanted to make sure that you had a chance to be able to, share your love for the Nets. You know.
Appreciate you, Chris. Appreciate you.
Have a good weekend.
You too, sir.
All right, we are here. We've entered the time, ladies and gentlemen, where John is going to come up to the podium here and give us his take on the Los Angeles Clippers last night. All 5 starters did not score in double digits. All 5 starters were done by halftime. John, the floor is yours. Here you go.
First things first. I was very disappointed that we got bamboozled by a very very good Denver Nuggets team. I mean, you can't win when you only can make 2 threes in a half, and the other team has players that made more than 2 threes by themselves in a half. So it's embarrassing that the effort that they put out there is miserable and depressing. Good thing I did not watch because I might get even stressed further by watching this game. We're very very again. I've been saying this for quite a while for with regard to my team. It's we're very unserious until probably after the All Star break. So we just have to be patient. Although our patience, admittedly, is getting a little bit thinner by each and every loss. Hopefully, we wouldn't be more disappointing than the team that we're facing later. The other major disappointment so far in Minnesota. But I just feel that Ty's just trying to see what works and what doesn't work. Hopefully, John Wall plays later. Hopefully, Kawhi plays the back to back, given that they only played like half a game. I think hopefully also Paul George plays as well, even with that. The minutes were expectedly low, given that it's a blowout and he's having that hamstring issue. So I wasn't surprised that he didn't play second half. But hopefully, the rotation fits, and we'll just have to see. And again, if we should be able to figure out where we are by February, we're going to be a very different team after the trade deadline, whether we make a deal or not. So we'll see.
All right, that's dope, man. Ladies and gentlemen, that was your Clippers funeral for today. Just an absolute eyesore of a game. It was just bad. There was no getting around it, and I'm left wondering why people are trying to say that Ty Lue is a better coach than Doc Rivers, because it's just not true. Doc Rivers has something that Ty Lue doesn't have, and it's called greatness. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, because Doc Rivers never would have allowed that to happen. Now, you can make the argument that maybe had they been up 3-1, but guess what? That's the players, not the coach.
Doc
This-
Rivers
I,
is
I,
great.
I remember your litigation of the whole Doc Rivers is a great coach from I think it was Julius who was trying to make a prosecutional approach to.
That is correct.
So
Shout out to King Phoenix,
yeah,
Julius out there.
yeah. So just one more thing. I just want to shout out Angel Reese for doing a 26 and 28 for LSU yesterday. So shout outs to her. The schedule may be light, but she's producing the numbers.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I just found out that Selena Gomez is a Spurs fan. I had no idea.
There's
Zero.
a gif of her like proudly showing off that Spurs.
Yeah, no, I just saw it. Like I put out a tweet like name your favorite team, because I'm trying to associate everybody's favorite team. I had no idea she was a Spurs fan. That's pretty cool. Micah, your hand's up. We'll start with you for the last take of the day. Go.
Man, you stole my thunder, Chris, for the last take. I was just going to bring up everybody laments about Ty Lue and acts like Doc is some kind of bum, but last time I checked, they got the same amount of rings, and Doc didn't have a top 2 player of all time on his team when he got his. Just saying. Just saying.
Appreciate it. 6 of the 12. Final take.
Yeah, man. Just hoping to get through this stretch without Zion and Bi. Really excited to see this team when they're fully healthy. Like I said, I don't think we've played more than 5 games this year with our starting five starting together. So just looking to get through this game. I think if Herb, Dyson, and Trey plays tonight with Najee, I think they'll be able to match up well with the Nets. It's just the scoring. So just trying to keep the faith alive, but wouldn't be surprised if it turns sour.
Man, I'm trying to be positive, and he's over here talking about sourness. Like, that's just not cool. Like, you're supposed to say that Trey Murphy is going to come out and stare KD in the eyes and say, "I'm you, but better," and then go prove it. All right. And by the way, like that's not me saying Trey is better than KD. He's not. I'm just saying that's what you're supposed to say. Shout out to KD. Greatest player. I remember watching KD in high school, and like even then, it was apparent. Like it was just apparent, and to see what he has done in 20 years is phenomenal to me. We'll go next to Bankai. Bankai, final take.
Yeah, final take. So apparently the Lakers are going to give DeMarcus Cousins a workout, and who knows, maybe he comes back to the league. That's interesting to find out. What else? The Knicks play in Toronto tonight. Like I mentioned earlier, we haven't won there in 11 years since Jeremy Lin hit that famous buzzer beater. We're due one, just like we won in Denver earlier this season, which we hadn't won in 16 years. Hopefully, we're due to break that streak tonight in Toronto, and we don't get embarrassed. I mean, yeah, hope we win. That's it.
All right.
Great space as always.
Appreciate it. I'll give you a point for that. Love the positive feedback.
Doc Rivers is great, by the way.
Yeah, he is great. It's dope. Got another point. I think you're getting addicted to these points. John, last take of the day, John P. And then we'll go to John Bynum Jr.
I will just say that hopefully, the Timberwolves I think have their Pride Night coming soon. So I just like to remind remind them about what Ant Edwards is doing to address to make up for his recent quote unquote homophobic comments that he made I think before the season. So I think he's doing pretty good, and I think he might be good that he might do a little more to show that he was wrong with what he said, and being more of an ally to the community. So I think that's good that he's doing the efforts to make up for what he said earlier. There you go.
Yeah, no, it's phenomenal work. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to acknowledge the mistake and the hurt. You're supposed to make a pledge to be better, but more importantly, you're supposed to work through that pledge and deliver. And like he's been doing it. So kudos to him. Hopefully, he continues to grow and develop and mature. As I think we all, if we look back in time, have done or said things when we were immature that we not necessarily regret, but know for a fact we would handle differently. We'll go to Eddie. His hand is up, and then we'll go to John Bynum Jr. for his last take. Thank you, everybody. Good morning.
Yeah, Chris, I just wanted to just let everybody know that's complaining about the trolls. This is a 3-for-1 day. So if you're gonna vote for your all-star today, this is a great day to do it. Have a great weekend, guys.
All right. I want to say thank you, Eddie. Remember, 3-for-1 voting. And if you are voting correctly, here's your starting five. Joel Embiid at center, Giannis at power forward, Jason Tatum at the 3, Donovan Mitchell at the 2, and Tyrese Halliburton at the 1. There's your 5 that you should vote for, in my opinion, on the Eastern Conference. John Bynum Jr., thank you for joining us. Last take of the day.
Going into tonight's game against the Cavs, I mean, the Nuggets gotta. I mean, you got AG's gonna have to play big. It's gonna be perimeter defense. KCP gotta show up. Bruce Brown gotta show up. Hey, I'm just saying. Hey, you asked for my last take. I'm giving you the Nuggets, so we just gotta show up back to back, then play a lot of minutes. But I like our chances. Go Nuggets.
Yeah, I like your chances too. Anytime you have Nikola Jokic, and shout out to Nikola Jokic, who's an avid listener, sticking up for Jamal Murray. He's listened to the show for a while. I just question what Jamal Murray wants to be. I'm not questioning his talent. I'm questioning, does he want to be a point guard or does he want to be a scoring guard? And sometimes I think he gets lost in deciding on what he wants to do.
100%.
All right. For all those who have your hands up and you didn't make it, I'm sorry you didn't make it. I will try to do better. Last time it was about 6 of you who weren't coming up, but we're 6 minutes over. So I'm going to go ahead and hit this button. We are brought to you by slamgoods.com. If you head over to slamgoods.com, you can see the LeBron package that's on sale for $35. It's not a normal magazine. This one is the one that has like a volume 2 of his greatest moments in NBA and in basketball, on sale for $35. Use promo code Hoopspace to save 15%. Shout out to all of you who have now signed up as a subscriber on Substack. It's up there, and all the money that's earned there goes directly to making content. And the fact that a few of you have done and spoken out for it, I appreciate it. It touches my heart. I'll probably watch a couple games tonight. I think I'm going to have some really big news next week, ladies and gentlemen. I can't wait to share it with you. Until then, though, if you're out on your bike at night, do wear white. Shout out to Tony Kornheiser. Maybe one day I'll get on the show. Peace.